we actually get the best of the best, the top teams. Top 3 already assured. PSG.LGD so far just utterly dominant. This is a big test, though, for T1. They have yet to play a team from the group stage. So far, beaten up on teams that already got to the playoffs simply based on their regional performance. This is their true test, and they've pretty much stuck to their guns. You know, the 23 Savage Medusa, a lot of other players, a lot of panelists think this might be a dead hero. He's going to try to prove otherwise. And PSG.LGD on pretty much their bread and butter. Ton of mid-game team fight. They've got the Wyvern Spectre combination. Like their draft quite a bit, Cap. It's got a lot more natural tower pressure as well.
It definitely feels like T1's draft is very fitting to T1 in that, as our draft panelist said, there is definitely some signature heroes here. Zephyr on the Treant Protector, we're going to be seeing that one again. And I love the fact that they were pointing out Carl and how he looks best on sort of these off-lane style mid laners. It's funny because Cuckoo is perfect in that regard because he plays the off-lane like he's a mid laner.
Exactly,
you know?
One of the few captains from the off-lane as well. He's going to have to be both big with the plays and big with the brain, because PSG.LGD have been incredibly technical in the way that they've executed their drafts. They dissected Nigma's lineups and just straight up not strategized them hard in that first game, and then the third with a couple of critical team fights. But either way, this mid matchup's definitely the one I'm going to watch. I think Bat before the nerfs was definitely a bit favored. Now I think it's more split. Leshrac, especially with the stick first, you're just going to spam Lightning Stun.
Yeah. So we should be able to see him secure most of the CS. We'll see whether or not he can get any denies on Carl. Our side lane matchups, we've got the Dragonite once again appearing in the off lane. That seems like a constant at this point. This time backed up by a Hoodwink. And that's going to be going up against a Dusa Lion matchup. Y already doing a bit of pulling and leaving Faith Beyond to take a lot of damage while he's away. So much so that he has to actually pop the Fairy Fire to make sure he stays alive.
Yeah. Both teams banking on one of the concepts I like a lot right now, which is damage mitigation. Spectre Dispersion, DK Blood, the Wyvern Cold Embrace. Meanwhile, T1, you've got Tree Armor, Timber Armor, and the Mana Shield of Medusa. So Teamfight is going to play a big role. Expect Solar Crests on both teams, and probably some Holy Lockets as well, specifically on the Tree and the Wyvern.
Oh, yeah. And it's definitely become a staple. It's funny, Jenkins and I were just talking about what kind of things we're expecting to see nerfed. And Holy Locket, Sange, regen items in general just seem to be a big one.
I mean, they're so good, AA is a top pick. Right? Like, AA, sure, his kit's pretty solid, but it's more that it removes these annoying heals as win conditions. Mid lane, by the way, is brutal. Oh my, nothing to say. 11-4 against a 2-0 Carl. I thought this was Lesh favored. I did not think it was Lesh dominant.
Yeah, he's definitely taking it right now to Carl. That is the #1 MMR in the world right now against number 123 from Carl. Of course, T1 does have the numbers to back it up thanks to 23 Savage, who's number 4 in MMR right now.
That's a lot of MMR, Cap.
It is a lot of numbers.
Yeah, we shall see. Expect a more static landing phase. Forgot to mention as well the DK Dragon Breath. That was actually the biggest theme with the damage reduction. It's actually incredibly effective against Medusa if you don't have a method of cleansing it off yourself. I think anytime you can reduce DPS of spread damage carries, it's super effective.
And it seems like the Spectre's faring pretty well here in this bottom lane. We saw this matchup before. Spectre versus Timbersaw. I think it was Po-Yo-Yo we were watching, right? As the Spectre was just able to seemingly have a nice 1v1 against the Timbersaw with very little problems. Here, he still has the Hoodwink kind of hanging around, but that's just because there's not much else to do. Right now, mid lane doesn't need the help.
I believe Hoodwink as well has the highest win rate with over 10 games played in this tournament so far, which is very odd when you think about it, but I think all of us were saying the hero was just not good. However, it's been primarily good teams playing it, notably EG. And here, of course, PSG.LGD.
Getting a little pull action here, just trying to deny the Timbersaw as much as they possibly can, but truthfully, Hex picked up for Whitemon.
That was... Did he get level 2 just then?
He might have gotten off a neutral creep dying. I wasn't actually... No.
I don't think so. Got a lot of XP. I think he maybe just held the point.
Yeah.
Typically, Lions will have the point and drain mana, but if you hadn't seen that, that was a bit of an interesting move there by RTI winning Wyvern.
Open up the easy camp too, just before the 4-minute spawn. So you can see both of these safe lanes are dealing with an offlaner that's hard to just keep out of experience range. Nice deny there from Xinkyu on the water rune. So instead, they got to try and take advantage of creep pulling as much as possible. That's the only real thing they can do.
Yeah, and
well, I say that, but they're going to try lane here.
I don't like. How do you do anything to these offlaners? Like, but same concept. Timbersaw, armor stacks, and then of course just Dragon Blood for the DK. You just can't kill
There they go. Going on to Faith Beyond, but yeah, they brought him low last time. That was before he had level 2 of Dragon's Blood. Much different kind of quest now.
And bottom, it's not great for Ame, but until Cuckoo's level 6, you can't really pressure him too hard. It's just really annoying. I'm curious to see where will he go after this. It's tough to play into the Medusa lane, especially if there's a tree just camping it. So maybe they'll make a move with the first haunt. He should hit 6 first.
I like how that Bushwhack does nothing but help him secure an easy camp CS. That is the use of that mana to secure 20 gold and take 20 gold away from the Timbersaw. That's about as best as Xinkyu is working with right now.
It's the new offlaners, right? They're just unkillable. They're just hanging out.
Yeah.
It's also why you typically see more of the lower farm priority heroes into mid, or space makers like Batrider, because the side lanes just simply take too much farm.
And just hit him with the double slow combo here, but now showing up with is the Hoodwink. They're going on to Zephyr, the tanky Dream Protector, but that bounce of the Deuce's Snake is going to do a lot. Not quite enough to secure the first kill, but then again, it wasn't first blood, so it doesn't matter. Xinkyu, another Bushwhack, and he's going to secure a second one here unless the Fairy Fire can save Whitemon around the corner through the trees. Xinkyu spots him for a moment, hits him once, hits him twice, and blocks him off with the tree. Nicely played with the Acorn shot.
Yep, nice battling. Supports will trade, however, they did kill the enemy offlaner, so I'd say even in a 2-for-1 scenario, that's mostly even.
Carl, he's got lasso, and I think he may try and go for an extra kill here with his haste rune. Never mind, he's got to use his extra bit to try and finish off Xinkyu, but the Bushwhack, he needs another hit, and that wasn't enough either. There was still a Fairy Fire left. Oh, that was lame indeed. Carl, he thought he had a guaranteed kill, maybe even a second one, but it's denied to him. Meanwhile, Zephyr in the mid lane trying to run down his brambles to stay away from Nothing to Say. Will apparently give up on the chase, or maybe not know where this Dream Protector is off to.
It's a pretty value move, though. You get a whole Leshrac mana pool. Yeah, you might have to go back to base on the tree end, but that denies a lot of farm from Nothing to Say. That represents a lot of jungle camps he could have cleared.
Yeah.
Bottom, Ame, once again the Echo Saber build, having some trouble though. The 3 points in Dispersion, typically you see max stagger, but against Timber, you're literally just last hitting, so you might as well mitigate as much damage as possible. I think the big difference in this game is just going to be Carl's rotations. He is on a kill-heavy core. He needs to make moves, open up space for the rest of his team, whereas Nothing to Say, his rotations are a lot easier. He can find a hero kill, or he can just farm stacks, or more importantly, get a couple extra points in Edict and go take towers. So, especially once the DK is 6, which is just about to hit. There it is. What do you know?
Big push, yep.
Leshrac 3 points Edict, mana boots, and Nothing to Say is going to force Savage out of lane, or perhaps threaten a kill here. You got to be really careful on the Dusa.
This is going to be hard for a Dream Protector to deal with. You can deal with one, but not both. As Living Armor is only going to do so much good here. Even pulling the creep wave off the tower is only going to help you so much. As the assault on this Tier 1 safe lane begins, and T1, well, normally it would be the thing, okay, you just give up this tower, right? But with a Dream Protector, you kind of want to fight as much as you can for every single tower you've got.
The thing is, Lesh is actually so good against Tree for that reason, because you don't swiddle towers.
They're going to try and go for it. Carl, he's going to show up here. They got the Brambles to be able to keep Nothing to Say back while they lasso up and finish off Faith Beyond. It may have gotten the tower, but it does cost Faith Beyond his life.
Yeah, let's check in on bottom. Timbersaw and Spectre still just annoying each other.
Yep.
Cuckoo tanking everything. Has a hood. Ame holding onto a full wand, so neither one really going to die. You can see Ame is just kind of tanking through the chakrams.
I feel like there's something wrong with this, that Spectre can just stand in lane against Timbersaw and just tank hits constantly.
Max dispersion. He's geared for it.
Max dispersion plus an early wand. Tread boots as well are going to help you out a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, you have the benefit of the tower as well, doing the damage. If it was Timber, somehow, in fact, I'm a little surprised, you know, if Cuckoo does this and just tanks the tower and right-click Spectre, maybe an earlier Orb of Venom or something to apply a little extra pressure.
Yeah,
it is a bit weird.
I believe that's what Curtis said, was early Orb of Venom is the go-to for Timber against Spectre because you hit her so much.
Yeah.
You kind of need that slowdown. Zephyr going to be caught out here. No tower to retreat to and no trees to hide away in. Zephyr caught by nothing to say.
Lesh has always been my favorite answer to the Treant. It used to be that you also burn through the armor.
Yeah, the charges that were there.
It's enough magic pressure that ignores it, that it's still valid, but it's more about the way it's played. You know, DK, you want to slow push towers. Leshrac in one edict can do 80% of a tier 1's health. So it's a lot harder to set up properly, puts a lot more pressure on preemptive rotations on the side of T1 if they want to defend their structures.
Do you feel like there is something, a bit of a weird meta going on here, where both Hoodwink and Treant Protector, they have a similar mechanism that is very, very unique to them? They can play inside the trees on the side lanes. And Jin Q, well, unfortunately, trees won't really be his savior against a Timbersaw.
Yeah, but, you know, I think you're all right with this if you're Ame. You got 9 minutes out of the laning phase.
Yeah.
I think that's all you were really going to be able to hope for, and he's just been pretty much chilling in the jungle since. Question is, how do you look at the Medusa versus Spectre matchup? I think it's really about like, two waves. They crash into each other. Which one breaks? If you have the Manta Diffusal on Spectre, you can get on top of 23. Things can get a little dicey, but Dusa farms much faster, especially at this phase of the game with max out split shot. She can also take Ancient stacks. Spectre needs a lot more time and farms much slower. So if I'm T1, probably thinking about making moves based off of creep push, eventually take the mid tower, but at a point, Savage should be able to rotate over, clear out some Ancients. That's a dead Wyvern most likely.
Another pick off for Carl, just trying to use the lasso off cooldown pretty much. Cole the Brace does little to stop the magic damage of the Bat Rider.
Whoa, what?
Slightly off the mark there. And somehow it didn't manage to land in the AoE of that tree.
Back to the bottom lane goes Ame. T1 though, they have the Lion. I think this hero has been incredibly valuable. Blade Mail up on Ame. There's the answer. Ha! Can't handle me now, Cuckoo. He skipped. He had the Echo queued up. He changed it around. And let's see how this...
It just barely... The AoE, you can see the little dust cloud. It just missed. That's the kind of AoE of where it can pull into the trees.
It's an unfortunate miskill. Anyway, Lion and Wyvern, to me, the two supports of the tournament. I think Shadow Demon would be up there, depending on if people pick it in the finals. Another dead Zephyr tree. Different concepts, though. Wyvern is really nice when the BKBs start to come out, and just for AoE control. Lion, incredible burst, and game-winning lockdown at times, especially on heroes like Lesh. And you combine that with the Bat Rider, all the control T1 needs they've got, and theoretically, Tree can be very effective against Spectre. A good root will nullify the entire haunt duration, all illusions get locked down, and it's very nice with the Dusa to have that sort of area control.
Looks like they're going to try and punish this Timbersaw for once. Cuckoo, is he aware? It does seem like it anyway. Backing off for a bit. He's going to be a hard kill either way because of the fact he's got this Hood of Defiance and I believe a higher level Timber Chain.
Yeah, and I just noticed, you know, speaking about the tree armor as much as we have, Zephyr's skipped it. He has maxed out Nature's Grasp.
Yeah,
so
I've seen a couple of these.
Yeah, playing with the Bat Rider and for disable, so his Timber can actually get full damage off.
I think it's also the best way for Treant Protector to be able to farm side lanes.
True.
If you can't actually defend your towers, like you were saying against Leshrac, you know, you want to be able to have that maxed out Bramble so you could just throw it out. It'll give a decent amount of CS, always pushing away. Yeah. He has been killed so many times trying to do that, so now he's going to try and join his team. Carl looking for that opening, but isn't going to be able to find it instead. A Yule's a Split Earth and then a Dragon Tail stun. That's where he's going to find its death. Cuckoo, Timber Chains through most of PSG.LGD, but is unable to have enough damage to threaten anybody as PSG.LGD, off of that initial pick off with the Bat Rider, easily win the fight.
Yeah, really nice move there. Fortunate for T1, they just got caught. Timber. Don't think you can take him down, but 23 Savage has no ultimate, so you got to be a little cautious.
Yeah, they look like they really wanted to poke at that mid tower, but they won't get the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, but it closed that, but you know, that's why I'm here not in the finals, Cap, because here I am wondering about a problem Tree's going to have. He's already kind of dealt with it in advance, recognizing the situation. Nothing to say. I like the item build. First off, he picked up a Fairy's Trinket, by far the best Lesh item in this spot, but he has Eternal Shroud queued up, which I'm a huge fan of. I dislike strongly. No, swipe the Arcane. Might this be a kill?
Yeah, no, it's not going to be.
That's a Timber Saw. Don't do that. We've seen that backfire before.
Yeah, it's a Timber Saw that you don't have enough heroes around, right? You really want that kill, you're going to need probably the Hoodwink here to get that extra bit of magic damage in.
Yeah, so I'm a huge... So Eternal Shroud, if you're buying Hood on Lesh, it should become a Shroud immediately because of the spell Lifesteal specifically, but also because you get mana back. Instead of the active's 50, and you can absorb 400 magic damage that becomes mana. And Leshrac, your biggest issue in fights after the Hood isn't running out of health, but actually mana. So it's just so sick to run in. It's kind of deceptive as well when suddenly Leshrac is gaining so much mana. You think, because the mana pool is basically Pulse Nova. And if that runs out, you're golden. Whereas, you know, much of the mana reduction on T1 can be negated by that. They have Mana Drain, they've got Mystic Snake. It's really annoying to play Lesh in these sorts of games. And Spell Lifesteal is super underrated.
Mech picked up T1. Content, it seems, with the state of the game. After all, you said, well, this Medusa's going to farm faster. He's farming all the jungle all the time. Zephyr's been able to play a bit of the side lanes. You could see Hoodwinks trying to do the same up here. Though Whitemon, he placed a ward, de-warded the high ground ward that Jin-Q had earlier. Whitemon knew part of this was here because they had a very deep ward. Oh, Faith Beyond, they're going to be able to find it because of their own ward deep in lane. They're going to be able to pick off the line pretty easily. A trap that was supposed to be originally to catch Jin-Q, then it goes to line, then it goes back to Jin-Q, and then it turns into a nice little play and move from the Dragonite.
I just realized they have the Hoodwink just for the break, right? Against Timber Saw and against Medusa. It removes the split shot.
It does remove the split shot. Yes, it does. Slowing down the Bat Rider just enough, and because of the Blade Mail, even as he walks away, he's going to be taking more damage. Dragon Tail stun put onto the Medusa, but ultimately between the Timber Saw and the Medusa, they are going to have some damage problems. So they take the Squishy Core instead. Courier coming over to reveal that D ward they found earlier. So both of their Roshan wards are going to be, Tinker wards are going to be denied.
Yeah, PSG.LGD would absolutely adore being able to take down this mid tower. And T1, they just want to defend it. You got a nice ward up in the enemy jungle, but I think T1 are pretty content with the way this game has gone so far. They have no reason to not have faith in the 23 Savage Dusa, and he's halfway to a Scotty as we speak. Pretty big. Again, we keep talking about these HP regen mechanics. Very good to have the Scotty debuff on heroes that have high regen or spell lifesteal or have a Wyvern on their team.
Which is kind of all three of their cores. Even Spectre makes use of regen to some extent because of how tanky she is. So certainly the Leshrac and Dragonite will be feeling that burn a bit. Cuckoo playing a little bit loose here, trying to stay in front of this push, but not overcommitting, and it looks like he's been caught anyway. Hoodwink shot helps finish him off. They do manage to get the stun onto Leshrac, but nobody else can really follow this, as that would just be the Bat Rider, but he's currently being zoned out between the Wyvern and the Dragonite.
Yeah, this is the big time we've seen on all these offlane DKs, the Blink Dagger. You got a bunch of follow-up stuns as well, so this is suddenly PSG.LGD's timing. They get the mid tower.
What an optimistic living armor that was. Threw it onto the tower, 1 second later, it's dead.
And I just love, I'm telling you, nothing to say. This guy is a genius. Going now for the Kaya Sanj. Status resist, HP regen and lifesteal amp, and spell lifesteal amplification, and spell lifesteal. It's like this crazy regen style of build, and it's going to be really interesting to see if T1 has the damage and time to deal with this. They need the Scotty, but I'm worried that they don't have enough sustained DPS. There's a lot of pressure on Cuckoo's Timbersaw here. He's going for just the straight-up teamfight items, you know? Hood mech. Oh, they got him.
Managed to get the blink, but a counter blink out from Faith Beyond. It's going to be able to hold the Bat Rider in place. Hoodwink shot goes out, but it's not quite enough. Carl will just barely live until the Haunt comes in. That finished him off. Meanwhile, the Winter's Curse kept 23 Savage from doing much there, but Ame has managed to clean up a couple of kills and is trying to get a third, and does manage to get it in the Timbersaw. Zephyr chasing after a Dragonite, but he knows his life is now forfeit. Is trying to run away, but Faith Beyond is saying, you're not going anywhere. Body blocking him to death and getting Ame 4 kills in 1 fight.
I really want to see that replay again. Ame had the sickest blade mail, absorbed so much damage from Cuckoo. That's all pure, and just straight up slayed the Timbersaw with his own damage. Like, yeah, look at that. A Spectre with that much damage output in a fight like this is just
this
insane.
Early, especially.
He out-damaged the Timbersaw.
Mm-hmm.
Gets the 4 kills. Now Manta finished right into the Roche pit. Nothing to say got 100-0. Really great initiation from Tier 1. They 100-0'd the Leshrac, but unfortunately he had the Nova going. So that's a little bit of extra sustain, some extra damage onto the Timber, and then Ame with the excellent positioning cleans up everybody.
And off of that team fight, they grab the Manta, and with the Manta, they immediately get Roshan. Now they've got a Spectre with an Aegis at 19 minutes.
It's pretty nasty, and yeah, it is Diffusal queued up.
Drop of the tree, pulling him in. Whitemon chain stunned to death.
Yep.
14-5 now as LGD beginning to exert their control over the map. As we're going to watch that replay again.
Yep.
Watch Ame here.
He's going to go right in.
Cleans up
Blade
a couple
mail.
of heroes. Blade mail. Ooh, so much damage.
He just got great positioning. The trouble playing Lion in this sort of game, same with Bat, is that you're just going to get hopped on right away. And the initiation advantage also rests with PSG.LGD because they can just have a Blink DK stun. It's going to refresh no time. Bat Rider, very squishy, has a long CD on his catch. And as you could see in that fight, yeah, he got the Lesh, but was immediately stunned. And DK is ready to keep fighting, double his HP.
Yeah. You know, it's funny how Dragonite is such a simple hero, and yet I have been routinely impressed by some of the performances. Oh, Zephyr is going to be caught with a bushwhack in the trees. Jinkyu keeps vision of him as best as he can, so they get the additional slow out from Y, and good read from Jinkyu, nailing the sharpshooter shot.
He's off to a great start. 15-5 doesn't feel like PSG.LGD have so many extra kills, but it's just really T1's inability to take fights on their terms. It's unfortunately just Carl. Like the only person.
And it feels like he's been mega countered, right?
Yeah.
Like his first big team fight move, he gets caught by Yules right away, chain stun, death. Another pick off after that happens. Then he goes, he gets his Blink Dagger, tries to get to Leshrac, boom, instantly countered by the Blink Dagger of Faith Beyond. It feels like this guy just cannot win Blink for Blink once again. Now he's been Dragon-tailed up. Oh, PSG.LGD, they're just working Carl in this game. Now Winter's Curse, setting up some more kills with the Bushwhack on top of that. Nothing to say. Putting out some serious damage. Cuckoo trying to slide away, but they're going to have to leave the Deucer behind perhaps. Okay, the Stone Gaze doing a decent amount of work here. Cuckoo comes back into play, and they are going to be able to bring down Nothing to Say. Ame fully committed, does have the Aegis here, wants to be able to get the kill onto 23 Savage first, and does manage to do so. Even as he's lassoed up, he goes down now. It's up to Cuckoo, and maybe Whitemon to be able to get more damage in, but yeah, they're realizing they don't have anything left. They're going to try and back out Faith Beyond. Oh, not quite catching Whitemon himself, but it does flush out that support. So the rest of his team can pick up the goose. 18-6 now. And PSG.LGD using their Aegis very nicely to win a fight around T1's Tier 2.
And I just want to once again shout out Nothing to Say. Yes, he's the only member of his team to die in that fight, but look at the items. Shroud, Yules, Wand, Assange. He has itemized for exactly what he's done. When he died, he had no mana. He's just straight up face diving, Faith Beyond with him, now with the fresh BKB. It's the chillest game for Ame because nobody's worried about him. He even took the first Aegis. I think it was yesterday, can't remember the team, but with a Lesh and Spectre, they gave first Aegis to the Leshrac. This time, they keep it on Ame, which is, as you can see, the right move. And if you die as a Spectre with Aegis, it's pretty dope because the dispersion damage is now about as much as you can throw out. You come right back, full HP.
You think part of that is his Blade Mail build because he's going such an active in-your-face style that they wanted that extra life on him?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Now he's closing in on a Scotty as a result of having yet to die. 7-0-3 for Ame.
It's interesting that he's not going for the Diffusal. Would give him solo kill potential on both supports. But Scotty, can make an argument it's just a better item all around. You're dealing with some healing effects from the tree armor, I suppose.
Yeah, deals with the Timber Saw a little bit better. I can kind of dig it. I mean, good against range heroes always, right? So
I feel like, didn't we see like this exact game from PSG.LGD against Team Nigma where it was Miracle, top net worth, and then 3 PSG.LGD cores?
Yeah, yeah.
But, I don't know. T1, they're not out of it. Like, Dusa in the late game is a threat for sure. It's just the trouble they have starting fights. Like, what is the move they're going to make? It all comes down to a lasso, and there's so many heroes. In fact, pretty much every hero on PSG.LGD can interrupt it.
I have to say, Zephyr and Carl just not getting to play Dota.
No.
Right? The Stream Protector has been caught so many times trying to go for the split push, and then Carl, as we talked about earlier, has just been countered every step of the way. An Arcane Root now for Nothing to Say. Kaya Sanj for the Timber Saw, so there's a slight upgrade for T1. They're going to need it too. Going to go back for the Aghanim Scepter as he gets the level 20 talent, which I like to be able to see. I think people have been kind of overly forsaking the Aghanims just because the talent change.
Yeah. It's still one of the reasons I think you pick the hero. It just takes a little bit longer before it's truly online. White Mon. Okay. They're going to turn back towards mid. PSG.LGD just obtaining control of the high ground. And obviously T1, they know they're up to something. There's the blink on the line. So finally, another tool to potentially start fights. The Treant also has one, but I think he's going to look to use that later in the engagement. You want to make sure that the Spectre has at least used his Manta. And you wouldn't mind if a couple BKBs get popped as well. It's really just for that slowing down of the fight. Dusa prospers if you can burn out a lot of these big cooldowns. The Leshrac Mana Pool, the Curse, Haunt, you can just live. Everybody stays alive.
Yeah. And that has been kind of a bit of the problem, right? They were able to hold on to their tier 1 towers because Timbersaw and Dusa would not die, but every single time it felt like maybe the Train Protector was getting caught, the Bat Rider wasn't surviving. We desperately need a PKB. 23 Savage going to be found. Not by himself, though. A beautiful Earth Spike going to be able to catch two. Zephyr's going to be able to follow up the Overgrowth. Now they've got the lasso onto the Dragon Knight. They're going to focus every bit of attention they have to be able to kill Faith Beyond. But Ame does manage to clean up one support, and now they're going to chase after 23 Savage. Bushwhack actually does manage to catch Zephyr, so he's going to fall next. Nothing to Say, getting in front of 23 Savage, making sure he knows he has to stand and fight, and this is a fight that's going to be hard to win, too. Another Bushwhack controlling up 23 Savage, cuts the tree, but it's too late. He's dead. Timbersaw pulled back in by the Winter's Curse. That'll lead not just to the Timber's death, but the Bat Riders as well.
Nothing to Say is insane. Extra Voodoo Mask. I keep saying it, but he keeps buying more items for spell lifesteal. He's full health. He is full health in the fight. The ideal Cold Embrace target as well for his Wyvern, because so long as he's cast his spells, he's still dealing near full damage in the middle of the fights, just running at 23 Savage. Yes, they lose the DK, but consider how many spells and how much time T1 have to spend to kill any of these PSG.LGD cores. They're playing it away. Look how aggressive everybody is. Somebody on the team might die, but the other two cores are right up in the mouth of the 23 Savage Medusa, who simply just doesn't have the damage yet. Look at the Cold Embrace.
Yeah, and look at what an easy game Y gets to play. I literally watched him just kind of chilling.
Yeah.
Waiting, finally throws out the Winter's Curse. He sees a good opportunity to be able to catch them as they try and run away. And now, as a result of that fight, as we saw, Jinkyu does have an Aghanim Scepter, so watch out for that Hunter's Boomerang.
Oh my God.
That's going to be able to increase the damage coming out from the Leshrac, as well as all the other magic damage. But
and a reduction in status resist. It's just such great synergy, honestly. Like, man, these guys have been playing some incredible Dota, and you know, hats off T1. They have gotten quite far in this tournament. Much further, rather, than many of their detractors would have said they would make it in the top 3. But PSG.LGD, I think, is a different kind of team.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I think everybody kind of had, after the group stage, had them as one of the grand finalists. And and it's looking like, at least for this game one, LGD is going to secure an early lead. 11,000 net worth. As you said, they keep on building more and more spell lifesteal. Do you think this is a build you should always go on Leshrac, or do you think he's trying to take advantage of the fact that T1 is lacking in damage? It's just very long, drawn-out damage that's coming from T1.
The ceremonial ropes, good lord. I think it's a bit of both. I think that this is sort of the best style. Like, you feel the best when you play this way, because you can just run forwards.
Not going to let them get anything here, not even the outpost. Dusa coming forward. They do have the overgrowth plus the stone gaze. They're going to be able to at least finish off the Winter Wyvern, but nothing to say. Saves himself a lot of grief with the Yule Scepter. He's just kind of dancing around them. Fortunately, Timber Chain managed to dodge a two-man stun, but the Dusa is being constantly controlled up, unable to get off another round of the snake. She dies, as does the rest of the T1 cores, or at least maybe, okay, Carl's still out there somewhere, I guess, but it's still not looking great for the Southeast Asian squad of T1.
Their lack of damage, Cap. Like, you all in on a single core Dusa. 23 Savage, he did nothing wrong. He didn't even have a death until that previous team fight in the bottom Radiant Forest, but he simply doesn't do enough damage. Now, there's a Butterfly on Ame. All three of these cores are pretty fat. You have a Lesh and a Spectre. Like, nothing to say. He's literally running in circles around them in the middle of the fight.
Yep.
He's not a target anymore.
Yes, he is.
3K HP. Oh, now the Shard. Good lord. It's already hard enough to get any breathing room.
And on these stationary heroes like the Dusa, that Shard is actually good outside of base defense.
But yeah, to your point about the build, this is when I think Leshrac looks the best, because the hero, you've got a couple of concerns. Notably, it's running out of mana or being too squishy. And this build sort of protects you against both possibilities, and just really like no downside. Better synergy as well with your Wyvern. So you have the Holy Locket? Of course he does. Boots, Windlace, Holy Locket. The new build. New meta.
Sorry, I'm not sure who our observer is today, but I saw them click on Faith Beyond looking for the Winter Wyvern, because I also thought that was the Winter Wyvern. They look the same. Shout out to JJ, of course, our third man in the cast, who's been doing a wonderful job, as have both of our observers. Blink Dagger now up for the Winter Wyvern, so look for an even easier time in playing this game. I mean, Y has no pressure on him whatsoever, and now he can play far away and blink in when it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, and I just really enjoy, PSG.LGD. You can tell that they prepped this. There's a concept that they're going for. Even the Veil picked up by Xin-Q. Like the Ags for the DK, again, maximizing the damage reduction. Even talenting for it all on the Spectre with both the health and the regen talent.
Smoking on up. PSG.LGD invading the triangle. Might just be able to catch somebody here. They see Zephyr. Zephyr already blinks away, but they see 23 Savage managed to get a Dragon Tail. Plus, immediately the Haunt jump in for the Spectre. Look how much mana they burned away. They chain stunned her, and she doesn't have an opportunity to get off the snake, to get off the stone gaze, and now they're going to catch even more. Timbersaw underneath his own tier 3, fearing for his life, trying to get away. They're going to use the overgrowth to be able to save him. Oh, the Winter's Curse denies the lasso pullback once again. Carl just cannot separate LGD from each other. They are playing together as a squad, as a team, and they will take game one in victory here.
Unbelievable. I mean, not much to say about this one. PSG.LGD just near perfection once again. They have somehow gotten better since their group stage.
Yep.
And it's tough to find flaws. Like everything from the strategy development, the way they're making moves around the map. They kill towers in unison at the right times. That early Roche, just everything is clicking. And, I don't think T1 really made mistakes. It felt like that series that PSG.LGD played against Team Nigma, where T1, they had a good draft. They played well. They are just unable to win Dota. Like, you can't. They got you.
Feels like every single time LGD, they come into the draft, the first game, it always feels like they knock the hell out of the opponents. It feels like they know exactly, hey, we understand your style, we've researched you, we've practiced, and we're ready for exactly what you're going to throw against us. I mean, their lineup just totally dumpstered what was a very unique T1 style draft, right?
But it requires all like the little things, Like the PSG.LGD lineup, it's only so strong because of the minutia that goes into the the game planning. Like everything from the talenting to the items. I feel like I've been repeating myself for 40 minutes, but it's just very technical. You can't look at a game of Dota and just be like, oh, well, they won because of this smoke or, oh, that ward. It's a lot more complicated than that. And if you notice, when PSG.LGD, they lose heroes, it's almost planned, right? Like it's the core that is throwing his life away to win the team fight. And yeah, just really masterful performance. Once again, like I love watching this team play. Not take anything against away from T1, but they're going to have to think a little harder about how they're actually going to deal with the timing of these dual core LG lineups.
LGD looking like mind readers here in this upper bracket final against T1, but let's see if Game 2 will shake things up a little bit as we head back over to the ramen shop.
You got the whole world looking like this unit kind of magic taking hold of you.
Quick little teaser there of the Wii Show happening right after the lower bracket finals tomorrow. Make sure you tune in for that one. And of course, I'm here in the ramen shop. We're going to talk about this game one of this upper bracket finals. I got AUI, I got BSJ, and we got PSG.LGD being the winner of this one. And AUI, I want to start with you. Because this was a very clean, methodical game from PSG.LGD, right?
Yeah, it looked like a very strong showing from LGD. I think I didn't quite get to see what happened on the bottom lane, but it felt like Spectre got a lot versus Timbersaw. I think you were even mentioning in the green room, Brian. But LGD were able to get more out of lanes than I feel they should have, and they just translated that into playing a very clean map.
This Leshrac glass pick was really cool because you have Timbersaw Medusa. You just need so much damage over time, and you can't run out of it. And Leshrac's the best core in the game to offer that sustained damage. And it wouldn't have worked against the Batrider because Batrider traditionally is one of the best heroes against Lesh. You just drag him out of position to take him away from his team. But the Wyvern, the Cold Embrace, the beauty of Leshrac here, you're going to see in this fight, he's going to get Cold Embraced. Most heroes, when they get Cold Embraced, they're going to get saved. But Lesh, he's got his ult going, so he's not only going to get saved, but he's also killing people at the same time. So it's some really cool synergy coming out from PSG.LGD's lineup. And then we were looking into the Hoodwink Ags. It amps spell damage, not just magic damage. So that includes Desolate from Spectre. So these heroes that are getting veiled and then ulted by, or the Ags ult by Hoodwink, are now taking, I believe, an extra 43% spell damage. And we're talking about Desolate, which is pure damage. This Medusa and Timbersaw look like paper.
Yeah, I want to talk about the draft a little bit on the side of T1 because, first of all, Medusa, I just checked. We've been talking about Medusa a lot about how she's been figured out. She is now 4-9 at this major, which is definitely not a very great record. And they overall last picked it. It didn't feel like the
Ninth pick.
Ninth pick, sure, but last pick for T1. Like, they feel like, aha, we got Medusa. What are you gonna do now?
Yeah, and even some of these Dusa games we saw in the last series where EG beat Vici's Dusa, they're not even getting to level 15.
No.
So it's not like the nerfs are the reason why this hero's performing so badly. I mean, it contributes more when you get higher levels in a game like this.
Course.
But I feel like maybe the hero was almost overhyped a bit. I mean, it was very strong in pubs, but it seems like the teams have figured out how to play against these solo core lineups in a team environment.
Well, they also nerfed the Ags, and people were willing to go Manta Ags. So even if you didn't quite have
Yasha
the 15,
Ags even.
Yeah, Yasha Ags. The fact that not only is your talent later, but you don't want to go for this Ags Scepter because you're not hitting all this timing around the same time, means that the build is completely changed. And before that Ags Scepter, I felt like Medusa was really underwhelming. So people are kind of, they got overhyped because they're like, wow, this hero's so powerful.
It's more about the eggs and the talent.
Yeah, and
okay,
now they're like not remembering the roots of what made it broken in the first place.
And we've talked a lot about how both of these teams shine in their macro game specifically, and we've seen T1 behind a lot of their games where they were able to just mid-game just make a comeback, right? Why couldn't they do this time around? Was it just the timing of the Medusa that they missed, or was PSG.LGD playing too clean to, capitalize on some mistakes they were not making in this case?
I don't even think Dusa got to get to her timing. To be honest, I don't know when this hero's timing is. Before, as we were mentioning, it was the Aghanim Scepter. But what timing usually means in Dota is when you become so tanky the enemy can't kill you, or you do enough damage, just anything that gives you like a resource advantage against your opponent, that you can sort of push it to them. I don't know what that is for Dusa. Like maybe if you have a really good game, you get to like butterfly Scotty, but that's a lot of items for this patch.
There were some insane plays from LGD as well, like that Haste Rune Carl gank at 6 minutes in, where he lassos a hoodwink. That, in my opinion, should be like a kill 99%.
It was a low hoodwink too.
But yeah, and he was super low going in, and there's a DK stun immediately, and then he is facing away from the Bat Rider and puts a bushwhack on top of himself while the Bat's fireflied, which should be destroying the tree, but it's so perfectly placed. And I'm just like, if I'm Carl, I accept that. I did everything right, and he just did it perfectly to save himself. And that's the kind of stuff that LGD just really seems like they're on a whole another level of their own, that we keep saying this, we keep hyping them up. But T1, I didn't notice any terrible mistakes by them. LGD just had them at every turn.
With when you mentioning Hoodwink, Lil sat on Hoodwink as well, definitely rising in stock. 10-3 at this tournament. She's crushing it. Why don't we see more? I mean, this was a second phase Hoodwink.
It's a specialist hero, I think, is why.
I think more than that, I think the hero is worse in pubs than it is in competitive. I've seen a lot of talk about it being the other way because, you know, you have a lot of team play against you, cut down some trees. But I think that hero, she follows up on your allies really well. She's probably the best 4 in terms of low cooldown damage. Her ulti is only 45 seconds. She always seems ready to go. She's like a better Skywrath.
I was literally going to say she's a Skywrath that can't get solo kills.
No, she's a hard to kill Skywrath with an AoE stun on a super low cooldown. In the last patch, they made that stun like considerably bigger AoE, I think.
They nerfed it and then they reversed the nerf.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah, because when she came out,
that hero
strong,
was
right?
Yeah.
It literally ruined my year to play against that hero in the first part. Yeah,
it was horrible.
She's just so annoying. You can't kill her in the trees. Her stun removes vision for some reason. Oftentimes it doesn't do anything, but it gets me really mad because I like to be able to see things in Dota.
Yeah.
And her ulti, like, it's just high utility, high range burst damage with no committal. It's a very strong kit.
Incredibly strong kit. I also want to talk about a strong trio that has been strong for T1 in the past. They had 3 of their signature heroes. We got the Cuckoo Timber, we got the Treant Protector that you even mentioned from Zephyr, the Lion for Whitemon. I kind of feel like they had a draft that they should have been more active with or more comfortable with, and I wonder what put them on the back foot. It wasn't just a Medusa. It just felt like something was lacking.
They usually operate 4v5 for the first 15 to 20 minutes of the game. That's just the nature of their strategy. 23 Savage is playing a little bit greedier of a hero that isn't going to contribute all that much in the early game. Not because he's doing anything wrong. It's just the nature of his hero. And the thing is that when you're playing with less resources than you should, or than you could, is that you have to get everything done that you can. And you miss like 1 or 2 kill opportunities, even the one I mentioned. If that happens 2 or 3 times, it's game changing. It really is, because in their minds they've played enough scrims. Most teams this would work against, and at 15 minutes they can get kills with 2 or 3 heroes. But maybe they would now need Medusa to participate because of the things that went wrong early on. And this is unfamiliar territory for them. And in Dota, a lot of it's muscle memory, not just in terms of pressing the buttons, but in terms of how the game feels, the pace, how many heroes you need to do a specific thing.
I think it was tied to, in my opinion, Timber did worse than expected in the bot lane. I think this ties into what Brian was saying about you have less damage than you expect. You are used to these kills being able to happen, but Timbersaw pretty much went even with a Spectre. I can see a game where, like, because the supports, if you look at T1's lineup, you have Lion, Treant. They do 0 damage.
Yeah.
You know, once every 3 minutes, Lion can figure someone. Bat Rider, his damage is weird. Like, it's not like a Lina or a Leshak where it's simple to see how much you're going to do. Last is also high cooldown. And you have Dusa, who does 0 damage except for creeps for the first, like, 20 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
So if Timbersaw does not win this lane, there's nothing that really gives that oomph and ganks. That's some play those, like,
They don't have
fights
Hoodwink,
well.
11
Yeah, exactly.
damage.
That Hoodwink did, like, 70k damage that game or something. I didn't see all the damage numbers, but I have to imagine that was higher than most of the heroes in the game.
Let's talk adjustments then, because we're heading into a second game between these 2 teams. These 2 teams have proven to be the best 2 teams at the tournament. And PSG.LGD, they made that first game look easy, but from what you guys are saying, it was mostly because of the way the lanes were set up. I gotta imagine that's a little bit of draft responsibility there as well. So what would you like to see change in the draft?
I want to see some Morph Willow.
Okay.
23 Savage Morph.
Yeah.
He is a hard carry, but that is a carry that can get itself involved much earlier on. So I think if they if they feel what I felt watching that game, they're going to need to bring all 5 heroes ASAP. And
Would you then be okay with more first phase? Because PSG.LGD banned it out second phase.
if it's fourth, meaning like first, like 1 pick, then second pick gets 2-3.
If T1 has first pick,
yeah,
they
and they pick
in
it
their second
Yes, exactly, and then they can protect it with
Okay.
3
Honestly, I
bans.
expect LGD to read that though. Xiao, it's like a mastermind. He's gonna know they want Morphling, and the 2-3 are not gonna let them pick it. That's my expectation. I agree though. I think that T1 need damage. Like if you want to play a 4 protect 1 style, you have to be able to kill things with your 4, like
Yeah.
your 4 heroes. C is like traditionally an aggressive region, but I feel like T1, they're an aggressive team, but they're very macro based. They're like supposed to be the best macro team
Yeah.
in Southeast Asia. But I feel like they over-index on the macro part without realizing that the reason why the macro stuff happens is because you can put threat on your opponents at different parts of the map, and then it gives 23 Savage a better read of the game, so he can farm faster and safer, and then he carries the game. They're missing part of their puzzles, just skipping steps in their plan.
Now we know, like Zephyr came for a winner's interview on my little ramen shop yesterday, and we know that these two teams have been scrimming each other, and he didn't want to say the result of the scrims, but you can imagine that these two teams know each other then a little bit better than just this one game. So in terms of adapting, Brian, they should be able to have a good read on what's coming next, right? You'd think so.
It just seems like LGD has been a step ahead of everybody. It's been across every series I've watched, and I feel the need to clarify this time around that it's not taking it away from T1. I watched them against Nigma, and I'm like, dude, Nigma just got owned.
Yeah.
And then every series I watched in the group stage was the same thing. Teams are able to take one game off of them. Usually it's LGD coming in with the strategical advantage, and then the other team adjusting and maybe coming out game 2, and that's happened consistently. So I'm ready for LGD to kind of run it back the way they just did and see if T1 has it in the cards.
Okay, well, let's see what kind of adjustments T1 will make in this game 2 to stage a comeback in this best of 3 series. We're heading over to our draft panel for it.
Welcome, everybody. We are the Draft Force.
I am the Loaf Master.
I'm Diversity Hire.
I thought that was me. Oh well, we're here to draft, we're here to analyze, we're here to panel, we're here to look at Game 2, LGD versus T1. Yes, it's Effie and it's Jenkins, but you can refer to them as these more colloquially referred to names, the code names, the Draft Force.
God, we have the worst bits. We have the worst bits.
This is what the tournament gets for putting us on at, what time is it right now?
That's such a degenerate.
At 11 p.m. This is the 11 p.m. shift. It's actually not that
so
bad.
hard not to laugh when we do these things. I try so hard.
Jenkins broke last time. You did good last time.
I wasn't told what the bit was last time.
We
At least
did
I
tell
was
you.
included in
We
it.
practiced the
Every-
bit for 5 minutes.
Every friend group leaves me out, and it's like, where were you, dude? It's like nobody invited me. It's the same thing.
You were
with
right
guys.
there. You
You
were right
were
there.
invited.
We were practicing.
I didn't want to,
Right
you know.
there, over there, Jenkins.
I didn't practice. I was just standing there pretending to be friends with you.
Now I know why you're not invited to things.
Okay.
We try to include you, and this is you just spit in the face. We try to pick heroes like Batrider, and what happens? Puh! I hate that hero. 30% win rate at this tournament, I think. I don't know. I didn't check the numbers. It's a bad hero, Effie.
That's a cursed hero, dude.
What makes it so cursed? We're just seeing it. Jenkins, you were explaining it at the middle of the second draft. You were like, every single time I see it, I'm like, wow, this is a really good Batrider game. And then you go
Yeah.
into the game and you're like, this is what Batrider is sucking. What is going on?
Yeah. So the great thing about these tournaments is that in Dota in general, I love this. It's that you go in and you have these like preconceived notions, and every Dota player thinks they're like so right about everything that they think, and then you just go and you see like this Batrider here get its ass beat, and it's like, okay, well, there's something wrong with it because it's not working. So there's got to be something wrong with it. And the thing that came to me about the hero is the fact that there are so many just instant stuns to disengage Batrider, and then everybody's like 5-manning together, 4-manning with like some guy farming somewhere else. And so you see this Batrider versus a DK in lane. It's like, ooh, if I was that DK, I don't want to be in that lane against a Batrider. Even though they didn't lane against each other, it's still like outside of the laning phase. You put a bat next to a DK, the DK wants to be playing League of Legends. But then you just stun him with DK. Everybody else comes in and murders the Batrider. He looks pathetic. There's just too many instant disables currently in Dota for Batrider, and too many disengage as well.
So once upon a time, the counter was always like, I need Hard Dispel, I need the Aphotic Shield, I need Press the Attack, I need whatever Omni Knight's Heavenly Grace.
Just stun him. Just stun him, and he looks stupid. Like, he just goes in, tries to kill you, and then you kill him because he's right on top of you and an int hero with no armor, no HP.
Do you remember we were watching the game in the green room, and then I said out loud, Hoodwink's about to die, because Batrider was walking to Hoodwink's lane, and then he just gets bushwhacked, and then she runs away. And that's the story. That's the narrative.
That is literally what happened. It was.
I
like,
remember.
It was
I saw it.
It was a DK stun, and then I was like, why didn't Batrider pull that guy away? It's like, oh, he's DK stun for the entire duration of Lasso, and then he was chasing it, and everybody's like, oh, he's gonna get the kill. Hoodwink just tosses some stupid bolas somewhere. Batrider's stuck, and he can't dive. She creates like a 10-meter gap between her and Batrider in the duration of the bushwhack, and he looks pathetic. And I think it's the hero. I legit think it's the hero. It's a bait. It's a bait hero. You get baited to pick it because you think it's good against all of these heroes individually, and then together it looks awful.
Okay, so lesson learned about that. How about Hoodwink, Effie? You coming around on this hero?
I mean, I have to. The win rate speaks
You have
for
to.
itself.
It is so it was a 75% win rate before that game. I don't know how many picks. These are things that I should have been looking up instead of practicing my poses. But, you know, we have to compromise here at 11 p.m.
I would be way too stubborn if I did not concede that this hero has looked really good throughout the tournament. But I think a lot of it is due to the meta shifting throughout the course of the major. Initially, during the wildcards and the start of the groups, it was so teamfight heavy with these like big teamfight cells that looked like that's what's winning. And now it looks like all these single target disables with a lot of damage are winning. And teamfight spells don't seem as important as they did a week ago.
Especially because the other meta that we've been talking about, the prevalence of the heal strats. BSJ was talking about how it's rare that you'd be able to have a hero be cold embraced and yet still be dealing an immense amount of damage in a team fight, but that's what the Leshrac Winter Wyvern duo was doing for LGD in that game.
Really cool Leshrac pick. But LGD are just so impressive. As Aoi put it on the earlier panel, they got more out of the lanes than they should have on paper, and then they just played the map impeccably. They found all of these opportunities and they knew when to go in, they knew what fights to take. They've just played so flawlessly throughout this major. LGD are incredibly impressive. PSG.LGD, do not email me.
They look the best.
Yeah.
They just look the best. And, you know, I hope this game is not a shellacking. I really do. And we've seen T1 get dumpstered in games and come back. I mean, there's teams that's been the narrative of the whole tournament, actually, is that you see teams get shellacked and then they come back in game 2. We all think they're going to get shellacked again, and then they dumpster, of course, which is the word that I was going to use. I wasn't going to say shellac. But anyway, back to you, Tsunami.
You just said it again.
God damn it, I did say it. So back to you, Tsunami.
Tsunami. Let us look at the Enchantress and the Spectre. First phase picks for LGD. T1 pick up a Lion and a Puck, and they actually opted first phase ban out the DK this time. Probably a wise choice.
Lion's a big boy in this tournament too. It seems like with all of these random disengage heroes that are getting picked, the Holy Lockets, the Eon Discs, I realize those aren't heroes, but the Winter Wyverns, etc., etc., just bursting people, like especially an Enchantress type hero, a Spectre type hero, these very tanky heroes that can heal up quickly, just bursting them before anybody can get to them and take that disengage and turn it into a fight. These heroes that can burst seem good, and Lion is the #1 hero for bursting people, period.
I agree completely. These fights so far for the last few days just have looked like go in on a target, kill the target, or if they go in on you, stun the target, leave, and then find a better opportunity. So any kind of hero with some single target stun or burst is incredibly valuable.
Yeah, there's like 2 ways of dealing with the healing disengage stuff. Either you do it yourself,
right,
or you somehow burst somebody quick enough that the disengage that the enemy team is going to do won't matter. Either you disengage better or you thwart their disengage.
And that's been a slow evolution, because I think initially people were reluctant to go for the burst damage, and they're like, maybe if I do Spirit Vessel, it's okay. Maybe if I do Scotty, Shivas, that'll be enough to mitigate this heal strat. But I think the solution is clear at this point. Just eliminate the target before any of the heals can start rolling in, or silences. Puck, Death Prophet have been on the come up as a result. And T1 gonna go back to the Siggy, the Zephyr Treant Protector.
God, he's so annoying. But as you were saying about the silences, I think backline silences are the best type of heroes against this strat. Maybe it's better to say heroes that can reliably silence the backline, because I think something like...
Really? Well, let me tell you, what if, this may be a radical hero concept. What if there was a hero who could globally silence?
No.
You know
Okay.
what? That sounds like really good, as long as it's not on an incredibly long cooldown with 3 other useless spells.
You don't
Interesting.
want that hero at all. That hero will feed and then be useful every 3 minutes.
I 100% wholeheartedly agree with that.
There are currently 18 heroes who have been uncontested, no picks, no bans, and Silencer is one of them.
And one of those heroes should be picked and banned. It's bullshit. Nobody's trying it because that's the best save and disengage.
Right, yeah, Dawnbreaker. Yeah, she's not in captain's mode yet.
No.
No, oh, right. You mean Keeper of the Light? Yeah.
No.
Oh,
I'm talking about a hero who literally eats somebody and makes them immune, permanently immune, and heals them for 7% of their HP per second. I mean, what better disengage can you get? You know, if they're too far in there, you hook them out.
You might be onto something, because
No,
in my head,
not.
listen, in my head, I was thinking to myself, how do I shut Jenkins up about this Pudge? Because I'm so tired of hearing about Pudge. I'm so tired of hearing about Jenkins' bowel movements.
So tired of hearing about 1 in 17.
She wasn't thinking it. That's a lie. She was besmirching me and degrading me verbally.
No,
If you
but
stay
anyway,
out loud thoughts.
Listen, let me finish. So I was thinking about how I was going to make him be quiet about this Pudge, but he does have a point. Pudge actually, his shard fits into this meta so well that it's surprising that no one's
God, you're
been
speaking
willing
my language. Keep talking.
I swear to God, Jenkins, if you
Be
say the
quiet.
F word, and I'm talking about the one that rhymes with Estering, I will kick you off this panel so fast.
This Pudge hero has been festering in my mind for such a long time.
Effie, explain the Doom.
to. Dude, what's wrong with you?
Stop laughing.
Why would they pick Doom into a Leshrac? I thought Leshrac doesn't care about being doomed.
I think they're just comfortable with the hero, and it looks like they're going to play a bit of a slower game with the Treant Protector, so maybe they're just like doubling down and playing for later, and Doom is very good because he can delete the Spectre.
It's a Coral specialty. You were saying, Jenkins, you liked all of his off lanes being played in the mid lane.
I do like that. I think he's an annoying boy in the best possible way. In fact, I think a lot of players would agree that the most annoying people that you find in pubs are usually the ones that end up getting on the tier 1 teams in the next
my
season.
The T1 teams.
Yeah, of course.
So, Aghanim Scepter on Doom is also very good versus Spectre.
I think that's like the big reason. You see the Doom here a lot in like China SEA, and it just wasn't picked at all in NA SA. And I think the reason is this Aghanim Scepter, and also the prevalence of Spectre making the Aghanim Scepter a legitimate item.
Well, if it isn't Ame Axe coming back from the grave, LGD let it chill for a little bit. Oh wait, never mind, there's a Spectre. No!
Faith Beyond Axe.
Also a specialty hero, and he pops off on it a lot.
Oh, he
so,
pops off hard.
So both are very pleasant to watch.
Yeah.
That guy is in tier 3s at 15 minutes on Axe. I love watching Faith Beyond play this hero. He is the best. I love him. Please email me, Faith Beyond.
.org.
Yes, of course.
Oh my god.
he
Isn't it
does play the
Loafmaster
best
1, 2, 3?
No.
So you gave me a fake email?
Sorry about that, yeah. I was ghosting you.
Tsunami.
What's up? I can't anymore. You're talking about disengaging in games. I'm talking about disengaging from this conversation with Jenkins.
Alright, back to the draft. I think Axe is a very good hero against Puck because even though his call has a bit of a delay on it, he can catch Puck. A lot of the times, more often than not. So while I wouldn't call it an instant disable, it's good enough.
I like it. Okay.
It's good enough. There you go.
Instant silence and a kill threat. You pair it up with an Axe Call and a Mystic Flare. That will eliminate anybody.
I love playing these melee stunning offlaners, the ones that can, set up for these damage dealing abilities like the Axe, Legion Commander. The game is so easy with Skywrath Mage. You just run around, and if you're with this guy and you hit a stun, they will die. There's nothing currently that T1 can do to stop that combo from killing anybody.
Agreed. And when you have this Treant Protector and this puck, you know they're going to play side lane Dota. They're going to play them up. They're going to try to create opportunities. And this Axis guy will not let that happen. They're going to need a really good win condition on T1, but I don't think they're going to be allowed to go late game. So I really hope T1 doesn't double down on the 4 Protect 1 again.
Yeah, there's nothing that I see in the carry position. It's not kind of out there that can get out of this, get their team out of this combo at the very least. Like, even if you pick a carry that does very well against these other heroes, you still have the Sky, the Axe, and even the Axe and the Leshrac together, as well as with the Spectre Haunt, being able to kill anybody globally in the side lanes. This is a super nice combo, and...
How about Dusa?
No, I really hope not. Like, I say this because they really cannot play this 4 Protect 1 in this game.
I think Dusa also loses the lane to Sky Axe. That's one of those combos where they have enough damage that it doesn't matter that Axe is sitting on the creep wave and the Dusa can spam snakes. The Axe Battle Hunger as well as the Sky Q and W do enough damage that she gets pushed out. If the lane is pushed up at all, you just murder her. It's the easiest thing ever.
Right. So they Monkey King. I was gonna say there's Juggernaut, Troll, and Monkey King left because they banned this Wraith King and Ursa, these heroes that can have an earlier timing than someone like a Medusa. And they just go for the Monkey King. I'm not a believer in this hero so far.
So the difference maker in this lane would be the support. I don't think Lion plus Monkey King or Tree plus Monkey King is enough to deal with a Sky plus an Axe. And the thing with this Monkey King against Axe is it's kind of a bait, in my opinion. You think that you can beat the Axe because you just hit him while he sits there and spins the wave, but then he just plays with the nuke. He goes 2 points in nuke, and then you go Windlace Boots, and you run the Monkey King down, who's very bad at dealing with nuke damage. So T1 needs to play... If they get a lead in the lane with Monkey King, dumpsters the Axe plus Skywrath.
Also, there's no save from the Axe call with the Skywrath ulti on this Monkey King. The Living Armor is not going to do anything for him, and there's no hero that can get him out of that situation. Maybe a Force Staff, but you can't Force Staff out of call, right? I'm talking about the Sky Atos. Then you think maybe a Yules for the Axe, but you're still going to die to the Mystic Flame.
Exactly.
So what's your counterplay here for this Axe Sky?
So I think the counterplay is that the Puck is one of the best heroes at rotating on a really aggressive dual lane like an Axe plus Sky. So I would like to see Carl get level 6 mid and then be incredibly active and basically play to break the laning stage down. Because I think if you play to have passive lanes, you're going to lose every lane on T1.
I agree with that. You can't
Carl.
let these lanes go badly, especially this Axe Sky one. That one needs to be checked. It needs to be checked very quickly.
Subarashi. Both these drafts looks excellent. I want a game 3, but maybe T1 might not be able to pull it off. The Skywrath Axe combo might be too much for them. Let's find out with our casters, Cap and Kyle.
Yes, I think we all want to be able to see a Game 3. In order to get there, though, T1 is going to have to step it up. And it sounds like from our draft analysts that it's going to be Carl in particular who's going to have to take over this game.
I actually think it might be 23 Savage. I kind of agree with the closing thoughts. This is a rough game for Monkey King. Like, I just look at the height advantage even. The PSG.LGD heroes have.
Into a bit of action here. Cuckoo should be fine, though.
I'm like looking at the AR behind me across the river. It just PSG.LGD's lineup just looks menacing.
Yeah.
And
menacing in what way? What are you looking at?
Oh, sorry. The team graphics are flipped. I got very confused. I'm like, is everything I thought about the draft suddenly wrong? No, it's just mislabeled. I like that they kept the Spectre Leshrac. It's just such a sick combo. They both dive in, so much AoE damage. 23 Savage, though. Like, once again, I think this lineup's kind of built around him, and it's a rough game, even from the laning phase. Like, I just don't see this as a great Monkey King game unless, as Effie said, he dominates the laning phase.
Yeah.
Like, crushes it.
Yeah. You're dealing with Axe, with the early on Battle Hunger spam, as well as the spam coming out from Skywrath Mage. You're just going to be receiving constant magic damage. And you can't feel super confident about getting those Jingu stacks up if you're missing any HP, because if Axe gets a little lucky and gets a couple of spins in, he might just turn around and do more damage to you than you did to him.
Yeah. And I will say, Carl, on the puck, a much better matchup against the Lesh, but also a lot more formidable. You know, more damage, lower CD on coil than Lasso, and I mean, we just saw Abed. Like, come on.
Yeah, Puck is a pretty crazy hero right now, and in the hands of some of these C players, it looks crazy good. It looks like it just needs to keep being nerfed, even though I feel like we've seen like 3 nerfs in a row at this point.
And it would be fitting, right? Carl, like Abed from the Philippines, also 4-letter name, also playing Puck. Trying to secure a spot in the finals.
Really, now, next year you're going to be talking about the eye inside of the pyramid, the Illuminati that sees it all. This is the draft for perhaps a Game 3 conspiracy on our
Guess
hands.
the horoscope signs, Cap. No, seriously, guess, because I don't know them.
Well, I can tell you that 23 Savage, the young Thai carry player of T1, is an Aries. Born in March. 27th, specifically.
How do you know that?
Do my research, Kyle. Do my research.
All right. Well, you can already see the matchup advantage, right? Carl got absolutely shredded in the previous game. This time it's him giving a little bit of punishment back to nothing to say. It's just so much more pleasant to play Puck. It's just the base damage even. I think Bats is like 44.
Yeah,
Puck
now,
up to 60.
You can also see Nothing to Say is actually going to run out of mana in lane compared to what was last time, where he was having infinite mana to spam Lightning because of Bat Rider.
Yeah, it's actually like a great matchup for you to play against Bat for that reason exactly. You'll bottom lane,
Faith Beyond. They need to be able to win this lane on the side of T1, and it looks like they are taking an early lead. Very nice.
Yeah, and he skipped spin to level call there just to ensure his survival. You don't want to feed First Blood to a Monkey King. It's very much a hero that, with an item advantage, starts to crush you. So.
Nice dodge there with a trickery. I don't think he got hit by the concussive shot at all there.
Nice. I'd like to see that ZinQ securing a last hit for his offlaner. Those of you in your pubs, don't be mad when I try to last hit your creeps. I'm helping. If I happen to get the last hit, it's better me than nobody.
True. Absolutely true. You got a little bit of a tornado warning going on in this top lane. Cuckoo's going to be pushed away by the ever-annoying presence of the Enchantress. And once again, it feels like Zephyr is going to be a bit neutralized here as the Treant Protector, almost dying in lane even. Cuckoo had to try and help him out there. This is... I'm not expecting a Treant Protector to be in trouble against a Spectre lane, but that's just the power of Enchantress, I guess. GQ? They're going to be able to catch him here. Chaining up the disables, making sure that he doesn't get off concussive shot for quite some time. Whitemon, low armor on Skywrath, the high ground hit. Fairy Fire is going to go off, and a miss from Whitemon. Unfortunately, not going to be able to secure First Blood, which is still out there, somewhere on the table.
But you're all right with that, I think. At the end of the day, your Monkey King is free farming. Against Axe, he's going to be very content. Although, not quite as big of an advantage as you might hope. I do think that he will have troubles when the Skywrath comes back with the full mana pool. We shall see. But mid lane, I think that's the big difference here. Like, it's so much more comfortable to be on a Puck in terms of how you scale. That's why EG like it so much. You kind of fill all the gaps. It's a lot like Ember Spirit, but I think Puck is just so much more of a nuisance. Kind of easier to get your damage off, and I think the item build is a bit more solved. Like Witchblade, it's so good, it gives you everything.
Zephyr banging around in the trees here. One good thing about Treant Protector, even if it's not a lane you feel like you can really pressure that much, just use your superior damage to secure denies. He's gotten 2 of them already. Doom's doing all right for himself still, though the Spectre feels like it's free farming.
The difference is watch Cuckoo's gold, because right now he's holding 1,000. If he can get comfortable spot, maybe buy an early Midas, that starts the clock on PSG.LGD. I understand, yeah, sure, you could buy 3 Lincolns and a Lotus just like EG did, but end of the day, Doom is late game. You get up to a Shiva's Refresher, maybe even an Aghanims, it's just kind of over for you. You can't teamfight into it. And
how much, if we were to put a number on how much late game these heroes represent. So what does Monkey King represent? Give me a number, 1 through 10.
I'll give him like a 6 in this game.
How much does Spectre represent?
8.5.
Okay, and what does Doom represent?
Does he have an Aghanims?
Well, you make the call. Is he going to be building an Aghanim Scepter?
Yes, it gives you a break.
Okay.
If you Aghs Doom a Spectre, he's deleted. Completely deleted, no Dispersion, no Desolate. That's pretty much game over. And yeah, that pops a Doom Ags Refresher, you can turn that all the way up to 11.
So Spectre is an 8.5 minus whatever the Doom's doing to her. With the break mechanic. Oh, a little bit of trickery. Just barely staying alive. Still had 3 stick charges, though, so he was totally in control the whole time. No fear whatsoever.
Yeah, this is the danger. I mean, it's so annoying playing against Sky in the lane as the monkey because you only have that sustain mechanic if you get Jingu stacks. And Sky is so fast, you're not going to get hit.
Plus, he has a slow that keeps you from getting the 4th hit on the axe. Yeah.
Also, the 2 points Battle Hunger on Faith Beyond now with an Urn. Like, they're playing this lane perfectly. And I also want to give a special shout out as this game is still slow. Do not forget the director, the master puppeteer, Zhao 8, doing the drafting, the coaching. We're praising the hell out of PSG.LGD, but Zhao 8 has been making teams look this good both as a player and in the booth for what, a decade?
It has been a very long time. Zhao 8. Director behind the scenes in this game. Really true to his name now. He's been directing LGD, and I think one of the things that... Oh, Call gonna go out, and they've got Y here to help secure the kill. Even if 23 Savage does manage to get the Jingu stacks up, there's an enchant to dispel him. Carl, he's gonna show up and try and go for the easiest kill he sees. That's the Enchantress. One more hit, gets it, jumps away. He'll be okay, gets that 1 kill and out, but it doesn't offset the fact that their carry has died. The carry that you said, Kyle, needs to be able to have a good game here. And...
Yep, I was about to say it. Nothing to say. He takes all this space. They have no glyph. He is just straight up killing a tier 1. There's no coil. He's going to push for it. No?
Leaves it just a little bit low. Loses Courier in the process. I guess he knew maybe both the supports were coming in, so it should be a denied tower. But this is what we've been saying about this entire tournament. Is nothing to say. If you leave his lane in these sort of matchups, he literally will go and 1v1 the tower. With the bottle, he'll just, you know, tank tower shots and whatever, whether it's a Templar Assassin, Alina, a Leshrac, whatever it is, he's just going to gun for that tower is the most important objective.
I think it says something as well. You know, #1 MMR, he backs away. He could have traded his life for the tower. It is not worth it to him, so maybe it shouldn't be worth it to anybody.
The Call slowing him down, splitting their targets. 23 Savage will go on to Faith Beyond, use the Boundless Strike to finish off the Skywrath Mage, but now Nothing to Say is here. He's done the damage he needs to do on the mid-tier 1 tower, and he's going to be looking to put the pressure on this bottom lane. Killing the Lion, and now...
That's so cool. Because the tower mid didn't die, they still don't have glyph cap.
Oh!
He's going to deny... Maybe Carl... If he doesn't deny, that's just 2 free towers basically given up. If they continue to push, of course, the mid.
That's an interesting... Maybe that's why T1 isn't denying it, right?
Yeah.
They're going to deny it if they need the glyph.
That's a really interesting save, because they have it back up in 10 seconds. Huh, that
so
is
you
really
could get
cool.
a double glyph out of that tonight. I can see both sides of this, LGD and T1.
They're just going to go for it.
Yeah, Carl, okay.
Silence.
He did an attack, and I think he realized, okay, I've got to jump now. I don't think his team was ready, but he auto-attacked on a Faith Beyond.
Oh, no.
I don't know if that was intended.
That was an Arcane Rune puck. That was a free setup. You saw Savage channeling the ultimate, and instead they just fire a warning shot. A flare gun goes off, and PSG.LGD bolt. And they...
Hey.
Man, we're talking...
All the cool moves that could happen with this tower, and Y just strolls up with the range creep. What up?
They didn't even use the glyph that was already off cooldown. I thought this whole thing was 5-head. Turns out 4-head all along. Unfortunate, but it was cool to think about. Top lane, though, let's keep in mind, Cuckoo, he does have a Doom prepared. However, 2 levels behind the Ame Spectre. We shall see. Carl is the man to watch. Top of the net worth chart is going the Witchblade as expected, but so far hasn't really been able to get much done.
They're going to move to the Doom first. See, I was going to say Puck and Doom is one of my favorite combos. And I thought he would rotate up to top lane. Instead, Cuckoo is the one who's going to be the victim of PSG.LGD's movement. Nothing to Say immediately going for the tower. T1 is already on their way here. Might just be able to catch this Leshrac. Nothing to Say massively overextending himself. They're going to drop the coil to make sure he does die. Whitemon, though, is going to be haunted and killed. No more haunt anymore. And silence under the puck, Carl. You could shrug that off pretty easily. He'll still be here to defend the tower ultimately. That's the most important part for T1.
Yeah, it's cutting of your losses. Nothing to Say. Unfortunately, tanking the tower there took a bit too much damage. One of the few uncharacteristic mistakes I've seen him make so far this tournament, but a cool move. He bought out his hood just before he died. Once again, he's going to go the Eternal Shroud. He lost no gold on death, spent all of that unreliable gold in his death throws. They also got that ward sentry up, so they'll see Carl moving around. Also, 23 Savage, a timely DD will help him farm out this Ancient camp. But this is the trouble with Monkey King when you lose your lane. You wanna have an extended laning phase. You hate games like this where all of a sudden there's team fights brewing. You don't want to get involved right now. You don't have any items.
Once again, we're seeing this Train Protector versus Leshrac, and I'm expecting to see something from T1. They're going to try and defend their tower a little bit better this time around. Going for the Axe. Axe in a nasty position. So much magic damage. This time around, T1 is successfully defending their Tier 1 safe lane tower. Maybe we'll see that living armor repair at some point in time, but I like Puck Doom because it ensures when you doom somebody, they're going to get coiled and they won't be able to run away. Sadly, Monkey King does not offer the same kind of combo.
Indeed, it does not. That is another unfortunate gank gone wrong. Man, T1, they'd be in such a great spot if they'd landed a couple more of these kills.
Yeah.
So far, it's just the nothing to say mistake that led to a kill on a core. That should be one on a Spectre, and they should have also got a Lesh kill bottom. Instead, it's just going to be a push. There's no glyph. That is almost certainly a dead Tier 1. The hood pops will absorb a round of puck spells.
Overgrowth catching 3. They're going to try and go for the Leshrac immediately. And because of the puck damage, because of the burst, they can kill this Leshrac. Last time, nothing to say. The slow damage that was coming from T1 allowed him to empty his entire mana pool in many team fights. Now, he's dying at the onset of every single team fight.
Yep. He's just not strong enough yet. And part of that is that he's been making a ton of rotations rather than look to increase his net worth. But I love that, you know, this whole time, Innocence on the Enchantress, no panic, doesn't even care about what's happening bottom. He was just stacking the jungle for his Leshrac. What is that? That's a double and a triple on the hard camp.
Okay.
Up in the top jungle, so expect nothing to say to maybe just port mid. No, he'll just, port mid, start farming. He wants the Shroud. The Eternal Shroud's a big deal. Will increase his survivability significantly.
I would love to see T1. It feels like they're reacting a lot to PSG.LGD, but I would love to see them being the aggressors one of these times and put a stop to this kind of farming, but sadly, it's not going to happen.
They don't really have the draft for it. The problem with Lion is that level 1 finger, it's a 2-minute, 40-second CD. You also have a Cuckoo Midas Doom. So, looks like PSG.LGD, they kind of recognize, like, if anybody knows Doom in the meta, it's going to be teams from China. It's very common there. And when you go for this Midas build, we've been discussing it, like, it puts the enemy team on a clock. The Aghanims, Refresher, Shivas, the BKB, Blink, you know, you keep adding items to the Doom, and things just get spookier and spookier. Spectre cannot play into Ag's Doom. Like, that is your ultimate win condition. Doesn't matter the items that Ame has. So, question is, how do you look to do this if you're T1? And you can see 23 Savage, he went for more of an aggro build, has the treads, soon to be a diffusal complete. So he's going to look to get more involved with his puck. Cuckoo probably to do the same with Doom off cooldown. But it's tough. The tower mid is the big deal. I think we have something like an 80% win rate for teams that take enemy tier 1 first. It's a pretty huge disparity. I made up that number, but I'm pretty sure it's close to that.
Yeah, I knew you definitely made up that number, but
thanks for going with it.
We used to have a stat on that, and I remember that stat is always high.
Yes.
Mid tower is just such an important controlling point of just map dominance, right? It allows you to be able to invade better. It holds your triangle, which is usually a very important part of securing farm for your carry. Unfortunately, this smoke, looking for Ame, doesn't quite connect. Unlucky.
It is, but at the same time, if that's a puck leading the charge, they're going to land the coil. Unfortunately, it's a Lion with a significantly shorter range on the spells. They've found the Eng, Carl. Oh, that heal.
Yeah, he's going to be able to stay here for a while. In fact, they're going to turn around on Carl, and they're going to go for this Doom. Cuckoo's in trouble. Slowed down. The Echo Saber hit is going to lead into a split Earth. Carl, he'll manage to get away, sure, but again, ultimates that are just not paying out. Now, okay,
they have Finger.
If they can kill him, Finger of Death, and they got him. The carry of LGD finally dies. I believe his first death so far of the series.
That was one of the more typical Ame mistakes that you'll see. He just, every once in a while, I won't call it a feed, but a overly aggressive maneuver. And well done there by T1, just to basically call the bluff, right? Typically, you'll see a Spectre TP and you might be a little afraid. There's a Blink Axe suddenly that was picked up behind tower. But no, he's completely alone, blow all the spells. That's the power of the line with Finger available. That's why you see it picked so much in the tournament. So much
why you
guaranteed
see it
lockdown.
picked so much for T1 in particular, their most played hero. as we're going to watch Q die next. And the best part is they can trade it out between both Whitemon and Zephyr, the Indonesian support duo. The two first Indonesian players going to TI, apparently.
Not bad. It's always cool. You know, the thing I love most about Dota is like it's truly an international game.
Yep.
You'll typically see players from numerous nationalities. I think, you know, been following Europe a lot, of course, working the DPC season, but Secret, 5 different nationalities, 6 if you count the coach. I believe it's 5 for Team Nigma. And you look around the world at different games, different franchise leagues, it's almost always like just one country.
Yeah.
That's why we call our grand final the International. I think Tsunami said something about that just before.
Hey.
Either way, nice smoke gank. They have the Faith Beyond with the Blink Dagger. It's time to make a move and perhaps set up for Roche right underneath the wards T1 placed as they made those earlier maneuvers.
And they're going to run into the Doom. Cuckoo's Doom, who's a piggy bank of net worth right now. Battle Hunger slowing him down. Nobody from T1 close by to be able to protect him. Even though he is tanky, there's unlimited damage on PSG.LGD. At the same time, a very big kill. And being able to, well, maybe not the biggest kill, but the fact they can pressure mid a little bit is kind of nice for T1.
They also have that perfect ward set up. Although I think Carl just gave it away. They might get a kill for it anyway. Okay, works out.
As long as they get a kill for it. Maybe even pressure, nothing to say. And look at him, he's quite the bold one. Just farming up a hard camp while his support is dying nearby.
Yeah, you got to be careful. The Monkey King with the Diffusal is very scary. It's especially annoying to play heroes like Skywrath. Even Axe can have some trouble. If you look at Faith Beyond, his mana pool is pretty limited. Diffusal burning 40 mana a hit. So a couple thwacks and suddenly you don't have anything left for a taunt.
Call it back. Boundless Strike is actually going to whiff. Unlucky. Zephyr is going to be left behind to die.
Yeah. So far so good, but you know, you got to be like, look at T1, right? The Doom. He's 0-3, but the captain of T1, still top net worth in the game, has the Midas. Went for a couple of, I'll call them build-up items, you know, Blade Mail and Hood.
Nothing to say. Slowed down to a crawl by the Diffusal. A big pickup from T1. And now they're going to turn. In a sense, okay, they're apparently going to go for a Haunt, feeling like most of the abilities have been expended here, allowing the Ame Spectre just to have free reign in this team fight. But oh dear, the damage that comes out from Q does manage to kill Kara. TP away from 23 Savage. Nicely played. A last-second Culling Blade was not enough to kill him. And where was the team?
Where was Cuckoo?
Cuckoo, he didn't have his TP, and he was farming earlier. Remember in that hard camp? And now he's here now, but he's got to be saved by Zephyr with the overgrowth. He's going to fight this out by himself, apparently, with the Blade Mail. What a man! Look at him go! He's chasing down 4 members of PSG.LGD, and he's going to get 1 kill. That is knowing the strength of your hero right there. That is why T1 in 10 games have only lost 1 with the Doom. Cuckoo knows this hero in and out.
Yeah, he certainly knows his own power level. Just bolting forwards. That, you know, Blade Mail Hood. That's what gives him the power to do so. I kind of prefer, and what we've seen a lot more Dooms do, is just rapid acceleration, right? Earlier BKB Blink, or Rush the Refresher, maybe a Shiva's, but Hood Blade Mail, especially with tree armor, you're near indestructible running forwards. If they target you, you know, that first round of spells is really all PSG.LGD have. Yes, the burst combination of Axe Sky is strong, but that's really it, especially if Nothing to Say is dead. The big issue right now, this dire lineup, they simply don't have sustained damage output. If Nothing to Say has something to say.
Or he has nothing to say because he's dead.
Sure.
Right.
Which is why he would need something.
If he has something to say, then they can do something.
Sure.
Anyway, the point is that the Leshrac dying at the start of every team fight because of the burst damage of the line plus pop, right? That's where you get into.
Well, and the Monkey King, like, especially with the Diffusal up now, it's so annoying to play this T1 lineup because they have 3 cores with 3 huge AoE kill combos, and the 2 supports also have one of their own. Whereas PSG.LGD, Enchantress, kind of just farming side lane, stacking camps. Spectre, more of the same. It's Lesh, Axe, Sky that can get things done, but they're getting picked off around the map. Nice wards, though. They will see this whole movement coming.
T1, they haven't really put much use to this Monkey King since it won them a couple games at the Singapore Major against Nigma. But now, with a new carry player in 23 Savage, they're feeling like this is the way to be able to bring down PSG.LGD. Do you agree that like LGD, they seem to be so well prepared for these game ones, but the good teams, they always seem to manage to bounce back and win game 2 against LGD because they're counterplaying in some way? What would you say the difference is in draft from game 1 to game 2 for T1?
I think just more of an emphasis on the ability to make things happen around the map and just more raw damage output. That last lineup was effectively all in on gold-based damage, right? It's Dusa. It's all Dusa. You need 4 items and okay, we're actually able to fight. Whereas in this case, okay, Puck, he's online. Doom already online.
Look at Cuckoo go! They've got the 2-man coil to silence out. The Skywrath Mage is low. Can Puck finish him? Or is it going to be the receiving end of a silence? That's going to be the Doom instead. Doom with the blade mail activated though. PSG.LGD are still putting damage into him anyway. The Skywrath Mage, that ultimate's a little bit off the mark, but Cuckoo does eventually die. And Zephyr, he's going to have some problems with nothing to say. This time around, the Leshrac did not die at the start of the team fight and was able to rule from the roost.
It's a little bit of miscommunication there from T1. The BKB was coming out to 23 Savage on Courier, so he didn't want to get involved. That was a potential deadly jump through. So instead they take a 4-on-5 engagement. Yes, Puck survives, but if they just wait a few more seconds, Cap, could be so much better for them. That early lead they had now has mostly disappeared. They just got a little over-aggressive. They had the pipe on Cuckoo. They felt really strong, but if you just wait for the BKB before you make that engagement, it's all going to come up roses for T1. Instead, really nice from ZinQ though, if we get a clip, because he lived inside the coil. You can see him kind of like sidestepping back and forth, like, am I okay, am I okay? Holds his ultimate and held his W for a little bit because the blade mail damage would have killed him. And then a great Lesh stun actually allowed his ulti to rain down with blade mail having dissipated to then land kills on both enemy cores. Faith Beyond.
Coil trying to chase him away, forcing Faith Beyond to break it. Faith Beyond stands and fights and dies.
It's really annoying to play Axe against Doom. That max, it's 5% max HP as burn damage with the Infernal Blade, and of course only the 4-second CD. So you just kind of get chased down, and right now Cuckoo, still top net worth, by far the tankiest hero in this game. And he almost always seems to have that tree armor applied. This game, they'll be maxed out earlier. Already 3 points from Zephyr. Has a mech to boot, and now it's about Roche. We saw PSG.LGD do this in the previous game. What was it, 18, 19 minutes in?
Yeah, it was a very early Roshan. Yeah, they got it 19:30, I believe, on the Spectre.
And now you have Monkey King, right? You've got all of this tank ability and pretty damn good pit defense. So expect to see them do that soon. What's Ame got? He's going Basher after Manta. Has Echo as well. It's a pretty unconventional build, I guess, just to try and pop the line. Oh, and for the Puck, of course.
Cuckoo grabs a creep, walks away, and the Split Earth will miss. As a result, Faith Beyond intercepts the Monkey King, but they could still turn around and go right back to dealing with this Enchantress. Potentially the only kill, but a double Force Staff gets him away. Now Cuckoo is the one in a tad bit of trouble here, but he is, again, very tanky, and 23 Savage is lying in wait. If PSG.LGD overextend themselves, beautiful hit from Whitemon. The pre-hex on the Axe. His initiation denied. The Doom living through the Skywrath Mage ultimate, and Carl catching 3 on the coil. Now they're in trouble. PSG.LGD, they're just going to get wiped in this team fight. 4 down, Ame nowhere in sight because he knows a lost team fight when he sees one. He is going to be focused on farming bottom.
I love listening to this team play. As that coil landed, I heard Carl popping off, and the whole team collapsed. They kill 4. Nice discipline from Ame not to use Haunt, but end of the day, T1, you know, it looked a little shaky at first. Really cool Force Staff disengages from PSG.LGD. I took that as a win. I'm like, wow, great moves. Get the hell out of there. This is still not a team you can fight into. They have way too much AoE control, but T1, they just kind of bait the trap. They catch them sleeping and then kill 4. Like, you can't fight this right now. They didn't even really need the Doom, just popped it to secure the kills because it's the enemy core. Like, at this point, this is the fight. Okay, this was the fight in the tier 2. So watch ZinQ, he's like, maybe. He doesn't want to cast any spells. The W almost kills him. He holds the ulti and a huge stun that finishes off both. This was where the game was equalized. If we've got the one from just before, it should be pretty apparent that T1 just kind of owned him. There's really nothing you can do.
I mean, that was all off. Whitemon basically with his pre-hex cast on the Axe won them that team fight. Once the initiation goes away and the support lives, That wasn't where he wanted to be. That's not the right King of the Hill game to be playing right now, but they can still blow up Cuckoo. He's getting low. Ame with the Blade Mail does manage to finish him off, and the Eul Scepter stalling up 23 Savage. They turn around, though, going for Faith Beyond, going for the tanky offlaner. They might be able to kill him, but this fight may not go their way as a result. Whitemon being chased down by Jin-Q and Y, the two supports ganging up to be able to bring down the Lion. 23 Savage looking to be able to get some revenge, but he's slowed down as the Echo Saber. He's got an Aegis, but he's got no BKB, so when he comes back, split or stun, well timed by Nothing to Say. Jin-Q will die, yes, but they just managed to kill the Monkey King twice. Carl, in desperation, is going to cut the mid wave, see if he can slow down LGD.
Okay, I think this time it's PSG.LGD. Great smoke. A lot of teams, they would just take that loss and be like, okay, guys, we got to wait out the Aegis. But that's a sure way to just lose a game. They hit him with aggression because they know there's no Doom and there's no Wukong.
Yep. And
they catch him napping. Cuckoo goes down first. Great pickup. They just all in. They know that this is their window to win a fight. If Savage has Wukongs there, this fight is almost lost. There's every LGD hero in range. Instead, Faith Beyond, he lets himself go. Meanwhile, Ame hunts the tree, the support duo hunt the Lion, and then it's just 2 cores remaining.
Yeah. No, they did a fantastic job just basically playing keep away from the Monkey King until they killed enough of the backline that they could just together focus him down not once but twice. Still though, T1 holding a 2,000 net worth lead, and we're gonna double back on that conversation we had earlier. BKB on the Doom.
Yeah.
How comfortable is T1 going late game thanks to the fact they've got a Doom offlane?
I would be more confident in it if it weren't for the full pipe. Because my concern is, I understand why you get it. It's great against Lesh Sky. You kind of feel like you need to have it. But Cuckoo, in a way, hurts his team by not playing more for himself. Because the Aghanims, Refresher, Shivas, like those items win the game.
So you think he was focused a little bit too much on the early game, or maybe focused a little bit too much on helping his team?
Again, it's the benefit of hindsight, right? That fight we watched the replay of near the Dire Tier 2 Ancients, he had the pipe, but they didn't have Savage's BKB. If they did, if that fight goes their way, suddenly I'm praising the decision to get pipe because it won them a critical engagement. So it really is just because Dota is so damn complex, it's tough to really judge a decision. We look at it in a total zero-sum way. It's either good or it's bad.
Yeah.
But ultimately, there's almost always, especially at this level, you know, it's a finals weekend. There's reasoning behind it. Sometimes things just don't go the way you plan. Faith Beyond.
Oh, Carl, what a big hit, but the phase shift. What a reaction.
Wow. I catch the, the Euls was coming.
Well, they certainly know about that Dire Ward on the high ground that spotted Carl. There's no way he gets initiated like that without them having vision.
And once again, Nothing to Say with the same build. Holy Locket complete on the Enchantress, and now it's T1's turn to smoke. There's no haunt. It's a great timing. PSG.LGD, they gotta get the hell out of here.
Successful scan. PSG.LGD on the run.
Yep. Already the TP top from Innocence as the rest of the team just runs back to base. This is the move. Enemy team alert.
Stuck. It's okay. But yes, team playing the edges of the map right now, knowing that T1 is on the hunt. They've got the Doom. They've got the Coil. They've got everything they need to be able to win a fight.
Yeah, but the one thing I'm a little nervous about, Carl, very aggressive player, has not even thought about a Neon Disc yet, and that's a pretty life-saving item in this kind of game.
Cuckoo running in. You're going to lead off on Y. Simple pick off. They're going to turn around on Cuckoo. Oh, Cuckoo! He didn't get off his BKB fast enough. 23 Savage does to deal with the Rod of Atos. He's going to pop a very defensive Wukong's command, thinking that this fight, he's probably right.
The silence saves the day.
That was sick. A silence that stops the call from Axe as he gets force-staffed up there. He would have caught 23 Savages, and they would have killed him for sure. Really well done by Carl. Zephyr on the run, but now he's caught outside of the trees, and now he's screwed.
Yes. I gotta say that, this is just such a technical game of Dota. It's so much fun to watch. You have the double force staff on PSG.LGD is actually so sick in this game. They rush these items for a reason. Necessary against Monkey King. You have to escape the Wukongs. T1, they see the screen of space. That's about the max distance they want to fight to cover.
Sure.
PSG.LGD, you can strike from anywhere. You're expecting to be across the map and just haunt in. They want to get space. they want to try to tank through a coil, or at the very least ensure only 1 or 2 heroes is caught by it, and avoid Wukongs entirely. Because the 23 Savage build, you know, he's got a defusal. He's very much in for a good Wukong with the early BKB. Limited damage, and at this point, Spectre, now top net worth. This is where it gets a little concerning. Cuckoo, not BKBing there. Suddenly, yeah, he's still farmed, but this isn't the terrifying Doom yet. Not even close. He needs more items, and at this point, that Midas advantage is going to start to disappear. Like he has no item slots left even.
Yeah,
That's
at some
the
point
issue
he's
when
going to
you
have
go
to trade out Blade Mail for a Shivas, trade out Pipe for an Aghanim Scepter, or consume an Aghanim Scepter, or something like that. For him to get the late game you wanted to be able to see. Cuckoo does this time around get out the BKB and LGD.
Forces.
They may be punished for it, but these Force Staffs are pushing nothing to say around. Does manage to get off Split Earth just on the supports. 23 Savage getting on top of Leshrac finally, surrounding him with the statues, and they put that Leshrac in the grave. But at the same time, Cuckoo will follow him off of Culling Blade. Faith Beyond looking for the fresh reinitiation. They spot Whitemon. That should be an easy kill for Ame to be able to clean up as the rest of T1 are out of here. Maybe not Zephyr. Oh, concussive shot.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Didn't quite, wasn't quite in range of the Drain Protectors, so it hit the neutral creeps instead.
Yeah, I love the way PSG.LGD, they're taking fights into Doom. They don't want to give Tier 1 the opportunity to catch them off guard. They're the ones engaging, and nothing to say. He simply knows no fear. He recognizes, look, I'm going to get doomed. I might as well make it easy for him. And when it happens, he's in melee range of 3 heroes with Nova already running. So he's going to die, but he recognizes it and ensures he can do as much damage as possible. All Tier 3 items now collected. Spider Legs on Axe is pretty huge. Spectre loves having the Paladin Sword. Nobody holding the Cloak of Flames just yet. I expect Cuckoo to take that, but he's actually got the Quickening Charm just for faster Doom CD. I think I would take Cloak of Flames. He is the one who consistently dies.
Look at the goalie! Oh, he got him! Faith Beyond and Q. They're not going to get the silence. He's going to try and blink away, and they won't know where he went. Man, that would have been a sick pickup for LGD if they managed to chain that call into silence, but unfortunately, Q wasn't quite close enough.
Yeah. Carl, no Eon Disc. He went for the Yules build. So that's the save for the silence or for the Atos. But it requires him to be real cautious, because if he's caught by a stun, or, well, an Axe Call into a Lesh stun, like, he is dead.
Yeah.
They'll also have an Abyssal up soon on Ame.
Oh, turns around and manages to kill Faith Beyond.
He did that by himself?
The hunted becomes the hunter, it seems.
How did that happen? Wow.
Well, he got him with the coil, and...
All right, well. Issue you have as T1, though, top net worth. Spectre is really a lord of the late game, and I'll last time I'll say it.
Yes.
No break mechanic against Spectre. Very troublesome. You have one in the Doom, but nothing to say is doing what he can to absorb it, which means Ame is then free to just play the entire fight. And with Scotty, with a Basher, you got to be really cautious as the support duo specifically, but he's also able to go toe-to-toe with the MK. Not quite in the Wukongs, but that'll come shortly. Second row shop, this is the Shard. Do you contest it for PSG.LGD?
Yes. I'm going to say yes, but T1, knowing that PSG.LGD is likely to contest, they're going to go for a smoke of their own. They spot the Enchantress, looking to blow him up. The Haunts is actually going to go out. Buyback out from the Enchantress. Whitemon with the Ghost Scepters, looking to be able to run away. Ame's trying to find his target, but both of these supports have Ghost Scepters. Good overgrowth is going to be able to hold some heroes in place, allowing 23 Savage to now get set up. They have the Doom on nothing to say. They're trying to chase him down. Carl gets silenced up almost immediately by the Skyarth Mage. He's turning around and fighting. He is 23 Savage, now popping the Wukong's command. This damn Leshrac just will not die fast enough. Finally, they manage to get him killed, but it costs the Doom his life. Now, 23 Savage stuck in his Wukong's command and being poked at by this Enchantress. He's not going to let him be able to jump away to the trees. He's not going to be able to get out of here unless a trickery, a TP out. They're denied by Faith Beyond with the call and a Culling Blade to cut off his head. Carl, slow down, another orb, another face shift, but the call comes first. A double kill for Faith Beyond and LGD. It's going to be their Roshan to tame.
They're just playing these fights so well. Both sides giving it their all, but nothing to say. Once again, he has the Nova running that whole time. Doom does not disable, so he's just pumping damage. Lets himself fall once again, but he has the buyback. Finger also used, but basically absorbed because there's also a buyback on the Enchantress. So the initiation for PSG.LGD is actually just dying of taking spells because they have more sustained damage in the fight because their Spectre is just so large. Now he's got the Aegis. Oh my, he's so tanky. 4,000 health. Ame all of a sudden is a beast.
Yeah, 4,000 health, the 5% dispersion. They've got the shard now on the left rack. We're gonna watch that fight again. Man, nothing to say.
Yeah.
I think you said it really well, right? Aghanim Scepter on Doom, etc., etc. But the one thing you said was, nothing to say is trying his best to be a target to soak up that Doom.
Yep.
And what a great showing from him in that team fight, in soaking up the Doom and still managing to play out a full team fight and get damage out.
This is the other way of playing against Doom. We saw EG use Tactic 1 in the previous series.
Don't let the Doom ever successfully go off.
Exactly, Lincolns and Lotus. This is the other alternative, the Doom Soak. In this case, nothing to say, just uses all of his abilities. He's maximized on his health, his spell lifesteal, and his sustainability, and he just runs in.
Yeah.
He's second in net worth too, which is kind of crazy, especially post-buyback. T1, you're still not in a bad spot, but, you know, okay, he's got a cute. Cuckoo recognizes it. But I go back to the item build, right?
Yeah.
The build-up is great if it works. But the reason you'll see, you know, Old 11 as an example, almost always stick to the script.
Yeah, he definitely sticks to the script.
Like, it's the same items. It's Midas, BKB, Blink, Shiva's, Refresher.
Yep.
And in this game, he would have bought Ags too. It's because it doesn't put you in a scenario where losing a fight, making a single mistake as a team, suddenly lets you lose your late game edge. And that's what's happened right now to T1 and Cuckoo's Doom. You're still in an okay position, but Puck and Monkey straight up get outscaled by Spectre Lesh. They're going to need a really nice fight. Ame's done a great job saving Manta. We saw him use it to execute line in the last fight, but he's making sure it doesn't go in.
Oh, that was almost a two-man call, but because of T1's quick reactions, it's a no-man call.
Nice job.
Game very even, 25-25. Piddly 7,000 net worth lead for LGD. T1. It all just basically comes down to team fights, right?
Yep.
Who is executing? I will say maybe something to do with that buildup that you're talking about for the Doom, and then also the fact that he went Yules on the Puck to help other people is something to do about Cuckoo's philosophy when it comes to Dota. He said that if you're good at playing Dota, there are no individual plays. It's all connected as 5. This is a team that wants to be able to play around and with each other as much as possible.
That's a good point. The only thing they're missing, okay, I'm glad. Puck actually picks up the Shivas. It's not needed just for the fact that it's a great item on Doom, but it's the AoE regen reduction. You know, you're playing against Lesh, who's healing like 100 health a tick of Nova, especially when he's up in the face of so many T1 heroes. You need to reduce it. Scotty will come out soon on the Monkey King, but I really like the itemization from Ame because, yeah, he actually has the Scotty now, but Ame already has a Butterfly. So, in a way, the MK is a full item down. And the evasion, the dispersion, until you have Aghanims, they do, but it has to hit Ame, but now he has Aegis. Like, PSG.LGD, they've engineered the lineup, the way they played this game for this push right now. They have what they need, they have an Aegis, and it's time to go high ground.
Yep, they're recognizing their timing, and they're going to put T1 to the test here with the high ground push starting with Ame. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
PSG.LGD, all that buildup, they're going to do it. Go for the high ground. Oh, Jesus, that's a living armor. Let's run away.
They got wards, though.
True.
Somewhat anticlimactic, but still considered a win.
And so they're gonna go back and just do the Ame hit a side lane while the rest of the team looks for that pick off that allows them for an easier high ground push.
He's very fond on Ame, already having a backpacked item. That's how you know you're looking good.
What do you think, Nullifier or Abyssal Blade? It's what Ame's switching between right now.
Abyssal because he doesn't need the slot. So you're better off being slot efficient for the time being. Nullifier is going to be nice, but unnecessary for now, I think, because you're more concerned about staying that item ahead of the cores than you are being able to solo kill enemy supports by dispelling the Ghost Scepters.
Okay. Tier 4 items going all around.
That's why they backed.
Ah. A quick disconnect there as we're dealing with a little bit of a speed bump here, slowing the game down.
Cool.
If you're just now watching, this is the upper bracket finals of the Kyiv Major. It's between the Southeast Asian team of T1 versus the Chinese teams of PSG.LGD. The score is 25-25. Yes, Kyle.
I was just going to say while we have the items up, I love how PSG.LGD, they have so many things you have to deal with, you know? They have double Glimmer, so you got to have detection. They have double Force, so you've got to be worried about positioning. They have regen reduction, so your heals don't work as well. They have evasion, so you got to have some sort of MKB carry. It's just a tough game, technically, and it's just, like, there's still a Cuckoo Doom. He has Aghanims, but they have to get the Spectre. How long is Aegis? No more.
They've got to execute for this team fight. They got to get the Doom plus Coil, or the Coil plus Wukong's command.
Yep.
They've got to get the Doom on
Spectre,
because
Spectre.
because he's the Aghanim Scepter that he's got.
In addition, the thing about dooming Lesh is that even if you kill him, you don't actually inhibit his damage output. As long
if
as
he's already activated his ultimate.
Exactly.
Right.
Whereas if you get it onto the Spectre, you not only remove his hero from the fight as like not quite fully as an offensive threat, but no dispersion is a huge deal. No Desolate is a huge deal.
Especially since he now has the level 25 talent. It's even more effective. Team 1, we're trying to find an opening earlier. Now they're moving around the map. They're spotted by a very nice aggressive ward placed between the mid and bottom lane. And PSG.LGD, they're going to start making their way over here. The Shiva's slowing down the Coil. Faith Beyond kind of stuck here. But at the same time, T1 not in position to pursue.
And the other cool thing they've got going for them is that you have the Trickster Cloak on the Lesh too, so that's more evasion. So now, unfortunately for 23 Savage, he's got it queued, but that MKB is kind of needed.
Oh, the splitter on the tree! He just tried to hop away, but instead he's caught and very likely killed. Won't be able to do anything. The Lotus Orb of the Earth Spike is going to be able to catch Whitemon as well. 2 pickoffs, and PSG.LGD, maybe now it's time to threaten for that high ground. Carl is jumping around, trying to do what he can, but there's just no opening on these supports for him to get a pickoff.
You got to be a little careful though, PSG.LGD. You have no buyback on your Spectre nor Haunt. I can expect 23 Savage, he is ready to buy back if needed.
Yep.
Will you let one Rax go is the question.
The Glyph and Living Armor combo will only last so long, and it'll only do so much against the level 25 Leshrac. They're going to go now. Oh, the Abyssal Blade! Manta Abyssal Blade stops Cuckoo's initiation, and you can see Ame is going to wait it out until Cuckoo dies, but Cuckoo looking to retreat. Faith Beyond, 4-staffed out. Both of these offlaners managed to survive, but now the Wukong's command going to be able to surround the Leshrac as best as possible, looking to be able to get away, but he can't go anywhere. The Doom now being used to make sure the Leshrac does die. Cuckoo wanted to make sure he wasn't a threat anymore. The Enchantress, 23 Savage, gonna hop on him. LGD doing a very good job of disengaging, but T1 do manage to hold their high ground. They do manage to hold their base.
Oh, I thought they were in for a punishing there. There was no, like the Doom came out on a mostly dead Lesh, but he saw the cheese, wanted to prevent it.
Sure.
I was so concerned that they were going to immediately just buy back on Lesh, TP in. Ame's still full health, just didn't have Haunt. You can see the power of the Abyssal Blade. Like, right as the Doom went in, Manta Abyssal. Didn't even get the stomp off. And the Doom goes out, but again, just onto the Lesh. So nothing to say.
What's the cooldown on Doom right now? So it's pretty much tied in with the Leshrac reviving. So at least there won't be a big timing for PSG.LGD when they're 5 up to be able to like run it T1. They'll still have to worry about that Doom for about...
This is the buyback respawn, why it's so long.
Yeah. From
that initial fight around Roche, what feels like half an hour ago.
Yeah, it certainly does.
Let's see. There's, oh, what a spawn.
Roche.
Beautiful.
Wow. Is that like a really fast spawn? I wasn't paying attention to the timer.
It was pretty quick.
If they could get an Aghanim Scepter for the Monkey King, that would be super sick.
Do you give it to him or the puck?
Oh, yeah. Hard to say.
PSG.LGD, they're coming. They still have buyback on Lesh if they want to use it.
They,
1 on
they
edge
do.
2.
Jumping forward. Puck trying to catch, and they do have with this coil with the illusions from the Monkey King. Where did those come from? An illusion rune pays off later on. Faith Beyond, that's a kill. PSG.LGD are certainly giving up this Roshan now. A buyback now, but Roshan's already dead. Well,
what? What
was the buyback for? Well, they, no. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Interesting.
Southeast Asia, please. NA and SA already got clowned on for this. Don't leave the Chiefs in the pit too.
Oh no. I mean, look, at the end of the day, they got the important items, which is perhaps why we need to see Roshan tone down a little bit, because if you can ignore cheese and be like, well, we got what we came for.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an issue here with him giving too much. Who did they give the Aghanims to?
Puck, you are correct.
Yeah, it's too good, right? It's the it's the BKB break. It's just too strong. It also lasts longer. So all of a sudden, a coil means the Wukong's is free.
Jumping. 23
No
Savage
buyback
with
on
his
Beyond.
quick reactions is turning around. Faith Beyond is just dead. Dead for 2 minutes, in fact. 23 Savage activated the BKB. Now the Doom putting on to Nothing to Say with a finger of death. They want this Leshrac dead, and they've got him dead with a beautiful overgrowth on 3. A gigantic Wukong's command. PSG.LGD in hell right now as T1 members all around. Ame gets out of the pit, gets out of the Wukong's command, but T1's not done just yet. They still want this kill. Managed to get the stun off. Kyuku, he's looking to be able to dodge. Force staffed away. He's living right now. Oh, even the Skywrath Mage ultimate's not going to be able to land, but they do need to be able to help out 23 Savage here on the second life. He's outputting an okay amount of damage, but not enough to be able to kill Ame. They've got to go back in. They've got to help him. He jumps in to try and save 23 Savage's life. The Split Earth, the precasted stun, it's going up and down. They turn around, throw out a Boundless Strike. He's looking to be able to get out of that AoE. The damage is raining in. Nothing to say. No buyback on him, and he's dead as well. Coil onto 2. Ame is not here. The 2 supports have been abandoned by their carry, PSG.LGD. It was a long one. They all in for it, and they lost it. T1 will clean up the Y Enchantress.
It is...
There 2 heroes with no, or excuse me, 3 heroes with no buyback for a minute and a half.
Yeah, and Beyond's dead for another 30 seconds. Wow, they just all in. Faith Beyond, the one person who can't die without buyback, he dies immediately. And then they got the dream combo, the puck coil.
Oh, and
gets
they found
everybody-
Ame.
What?
They're gonna, okay.
Does he
They're
buy
gonna
back?
buy back for this. Like, Carl's like, guys, that's their only hero alive. All in on him. Cuckoo does what he can. Ame does manage to get at least a 1 kill. They bump him back up to the high ground to make sure they kill him. All right, Ame. I'm not sure if this was planned or not, but in some ways, he does have to keep T1 from just hitting his base because he's got no allies. He's the one that does have a buyback, but they have a full minute without 3 heroes.
They have plenty of time, I would say.
Yeah, Cuckoo's going to buy back. They are in.
No wonder. Like,
Oh, he got a refresher.
yeah, and he has Doom up in 25 seconds.
With only 2 heroes and 2 Dooms, Cuckoo, he could straight up finish this game for T1.
Go straight for throw and play for the win. You've got Wukongs, you've got Double Doom. Like, these heroes will be deleted. Cuckoo is on the way. Walking up to mid lane.
Trying to slow things down. 23 Savage. The damage, it's making me a little nervous that it's not fast enough. They're going to jump in on 23 Savage. A call goes out on Abyssal Blade, the call as well, but 23 Savage getting off the Wukong's command. Now he's got the armor. Now they're going to be able to break the coil on both of Faith Beyond as well as Ame. They're both dead, and that is going to be T1 with a roar from the bench. Taking game 2 against PSG.LGD. The upper bracket finals. Thank God it's going the distance.
What a fight, what a game, what a team. This is the first time I feel like we've seen PSG.LG tested in this manner. Nigma, they gave him a good showing, but this was hard fought. This was a game PSG.LG has closed out time after time after time in this tournament, and instead, not even mistakes necessarily, just outplayed. The Doom, stolen from China, finally comes online. And what, like last fight, just wild stuff. Faith Beyond dies, he doesn't have the buyback. Everybody's all inning, but it was 4-on-5 from the jump. Ame survives, somehow kills Monkey's Aegis, but TPs to base as the rest of his team still continues the onslaught. It was just very interesting.
Beautiful stuff. I love the fact that Doom Cuckoo managed to get his hands, the captain of T1, gets his hand on their preferred hero. Again, I've only lost 1 game with it so far. Now 10-1. A huge win rate for the Doom, and something that I think PSG.LGD, they're going to regard with a little bit more respect in this next draft. And that is the scary part, right? Is that we have seen this story before where teams are able to bounce back in game 2 against LGD, but there's still that chess match to play, that game 3 draft.
Yeah, and we're going to have to see. I expect Puck to get a little more respect. I think Doom certainly will be shown some as well. And will they go back for the Spectre for another game? We'll have to find out.
All questions that we can go ahead and ask our analysts at the ramen desk.
I asked them all the questions. Indeed, I'm here with AY and BSJ, and we're gonna break down that game. That was incredible for T1. They were able to get a high ground defense, BSJ, even though I think most of us were kind of thinking, hey, PSG.LGD got this in the bag.
We were preparing our interview questions.
We were.
The LGD
As you do.
supposed winners. And like Kyle said, they have not been put to the test once they've they execute, they out-execute
Yeah.
whoever they're playing against, LGD. And they were down by what, 5K net worth lead in favor of T1, and then took some crazy-ass fights. I'm like, how does LGD ever lose? They're just so good. And then
boom.
that's it. That's all she wrote. T1, like, I mean, they played like monsters.
Yeah, they were down like 12K gold, I think, but they just straight up outplayed LGD. That was the most impactful Stormcrafter I've ever seen in a fight.
Same.
I thought
Loved
that
it.
was the worst tier 4 item, but I think I have to reevaluate purely because of how Cuckoo used the item that fight.
He used it almost off cooldown. I must say that fight, everybody was on like a sliver of HP on the side of T1, but they were able to weave and dodge and make that fight be as drawn out as it needed to be for them to be able to have that combat going their way. Fantastic performance, and it gives me a lot of good hope for this third game coming our way as well. I think that's like, I feel like we've awakened the beast in T1 now.
I firmly believe up until this point, especially in the Quincy Crew series, that T1 was capitalizing on opponent mistakes by playing clean themselves. But this game, I saw a whole nother side that I had not seen yet, which was not capitalizing on mistakes, but just straight up out, like just playing better.
Yeah.
Their decisions on the map, their initiations and fights, like the patience where they're kiting around the Spectre, a hero I wouldn't consider easy to kite, while they, like you said, they're all living on a sliver of HP. These are the little things that it takes if you want to be a major winning team.
Yeah, great showing as well. But this is the start. We're gonna start, with the talking about the start of the game, or at least the first like 30 minutes or so. PSG.LGD played clean again. They made sure that they were reading all the movements of T1. They got all those fights going their way. They were the ones at this stage still outmaneuvering T1.
That's when I thought it was over.
Yeah.
This fight.
Yeah, I don't know how they won this one, to be honest. They're just beasting. And they were very patient with their spells. I noticed in that last fight, they had already been fighting for like 20 or 30 seconds when 23 Savage was able to put out that monkey ring. I think that's always a hallmark of a good teamfight team. When you don't commit all your spells the second you can, you're like patient, you layer it, and you're able to kite into a better fight. And teamfighting LGD is something to behold, because I think traditionally China has always been very good at teamfighting.
Yeah, I mean, ZQ as well.
Giving them the props.
Giving
They
them
deserve
props. And this is, of course, the fight that we were talking
Look at the
about.
Stormcrafter. He's just dodging.
That was already the third one he used.
Yeah,
in the
he
fight,
used a
that
couple. It just completely juked to the Scarf. He kept,
Yeah.
and he was staying around on just a sliver of HP. He's baiting out extra spells, sort of just staying around. He's sort of a threat. You want to kill him, but he's just pushing his limits, just outplaying them.
We could talk about neutralized for a second, because we had on Ame, he had the flicker, and I've been told that that's one of the best items, Brian.
Yeah, Jenkins was just raving all these tanky heroes that are generally immobile, running around with that flicker, and we see how long Ame survived for, but at that point, because the axe was out of the equation, they kept bursting him down early on in the fights. It just made it so that they weren't as easily able to stick onto the targets that LGD wanted. So yeah, he's surviving, but at what cost? He has the Aegis on Monkey King and the Ags on Puck. The coil is just deadly. The late game, I think the Doom against the Spectre is a serious concern. If you're going to pick Spectre like this, it just removes her from the equation, and it even allowed them to deal damage to the Spectre because it's percent HP from the Infernal Blade, and they could just toss every single Doom onto the Leshrac. Usually I see the Dooms with the Ag Scepter on the Spectre, but they just had so many teamfight tools, like I always said, that they can afford to throw one thing on one guy and then focus the other heroes.
The other thing I have to commend this game is that I think Carl did really well in his lane versus Leshrac. At some point, Nothing to Say did farm a bunch of stacks and catch up in net worth, but I think if he does a little bit worse in that lane, LGD might have fully ran over this game. I don't think that matchup's supposed to be so puck favored. Like maybe a little bit, but he was up like almost double CS at like a few minutes in the game.
Yeah, that actually made the laning stage somewhat even in terms of gold anyway. Because some of the other lanes weren't going that well, right? For the side of T1. The bottom lane maybe not too clean.
Yeah, but I emphasize that this you guys are talking about the lanes, and I totally agree with everything you said, but LGD has not, as far as I've seen, lost a game like this, where they just get outplayed in late game team fights. The game I saw them lose to Nigma, they kind of just had a snowbally map control lineup on Nigma and were able to out-farm, and they didn't have enough resources to pick them off, and LGD just gradually fell behind, and it was a war of attrition in regards to resources. But this game, it was just a back and forth brawl, and Chinese teams have come out on top consistently throughout this tournament in that regard to the game. So we are hyping up T1's macro play going into the series, but the fact that they can take them toe-to-toe in that aspect is just really hype going into Game 3.
Yeah, incredible. What they would do, they did that while being a little bit behind on net worth as well. They know exactly which fight to pick. It's definitely we see PSG.LGD already studying those replays, Curtis. There's what are you talking about as PSG.LGD at the moment?
I think in best of 3 series, most likely they're trying to not think about the last game. It's very hard to adjust play aspects of Dota in between games in a best of 3 or even between best of 3s. So most likely they're talking about draft and just like thinking about individual things that they could have done better.
Wow, I see you just staring at the graphs though, like seeing who's ahead and behind throughout that game.
I think he's just sort of replaying like what he could have personally done better, or just anything that, because you can change stuff in the game, but you can't make like big changes. Like maybe they say like, guys, we need to contest more bounty runes. Like that's something you can change, but you can't change like, guys, we need to work on our fundamentals of team fight because they outplayed us. That's impossible to change.
Yeah, you can't really say like, oh, let's do this different this time. It's something that you've been practicing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like not even in the last DPC season. You practiced that over years, right? That's the feel of the game.
Yeah, if I'm LGD, I wouldn't overreact to what happened that last game. I think if T1 is able to bring that level of play as a team to match them, it's probably just going to be good enough. I know that sounds like a defeatist attitude, but I almost would be cocky enough from the LGD side. Like, let's see you do that again. We haven't had anybody do that to us a single time. Let's see if you can do it twice. And I just love to see this sign of life from T1, especially because I had just put LGD above everyone else in this tournament. I was convinced after seeing their first 2 series that they were going to take the whole tournament. And I mean, the group stage also helped me convince me of this. And like you said, this hypes us for Game 3, hypes us for the grand finals. Whoever takes this series, it's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be between LGD and everyone else.
Yeah, I think that is really good. I was a little worried at some point as well that maybe tomorrow we'd had a fast grand finals, but I think both EG, T1 have a good shot of taking games from all of the 3, right? So I think we got a good even 3. And I'm also curious, this second game, T1 won, but they were having that amazing fight while being pressured into their base. They had to fight their way back into the game, right? So they're a fairly critical team. They're going to be looking at the start of that game. How could they have done better? This was a little bit of an unorthodox draft coming out from PSG.LGD. I want to talk a little bit about the draft. Like, how much impact did that draft have in having a strong start for PSG.LGD?
I mean, they did first to a Spectre. I think that hero's good. It has been shown to be good, but it does feel like a little bit awkward to pick a win condition that theoretically can be countered. I think it did get punished, right? They were able to get... Is Monkey King a good matchup for Spectre? I don't actually know.
Pretty much any hero that, if you group around a spot on the map, is good against Spectre with an ultimate. So that's why we were talking about Undying. I think Monkey King is quite similar. If you spec haunt and Monkey King is ulted at the same time, the Monkey King will control that area.
I've seen Eternal Envy. He thinks Spectre can be good with Monkey King because when he hops into you, haunt and cut his tree.
Yeah.
But there are some interactions like that, but I think overall what you make sense.
If you have like a Storm or something, I think it's good versus Monkey King.
So I can see like they got counterpicked, right? Like as you mentioned earlier, BSJ, they picked the Doom for Spectre.
Yep.
They picked the Monkey King for Spectre, but I don't want to read too much into the draft because honestly, I feel like LGD, like if I was their coach, I would say, guys, like just forget about it. We played well enough. They just played well this game. We'll get them next time. Because that's basically all you can say. Like, if your draft puts you 11k up or whatever it was...
With a Spectre.
With a Spectre, and you're in position to win, you can't really say much.
You're not chopping it up to
honestly,
the draft.
Maybe the coach should say, like, guys, it was the draft, I'll get a better draft next time, just to relieve that pressure. Yes. But it would be a lie. It would just be a straight lie.
What will March be saying at the moment? March, the coach of T1.
Probably just talk about what a Chad he is.
That sounds good enough to me. But if I actually had to give input on what I would say in this spot is I do think T1 did overextend a bit when they were ahead. From what I've seen, they are stellar from behind. We talked about that in the Quincy Crew series, and we saw it again here. But they were up by 5K prior to the up by 11K for LGD, we saw them overextend a bit at the triangle, and then we saw that fight Radiant jungle bottom side. You got to be a little bit more careful. You got to give LGD... they're going to push limits against you that most other teams won't be able to jump over that hurdle where they can overcome a net worth lead like that.
Okay, well, we're going to find out who's going to take this series, who's going to take this third game, and who's going to secure their spot in the grand finals as we are ready for game number 3. Let's head over to the draft panel.
Ame, yo, ame, nano yo. Anta ga suki de, suki sugite. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. This is a Baka Mitai moment for PSG.LGD. It's not all over, but boy are T1 looking to make a comeback, a fiery one at that. Game 2, LGD tries to step out of the box a little bit, do some Skywrath Axe. Could have been good, but 23 Savage on that Monkey King just put a cork in all of it. And it wasn't just him, it was all of T1, Effie. You're looking very inquisitive.
They played so well.
They played so
I'm
well.
actually so impressed that they managed to out-macro LGD with an 8K net worth deficit. That is incredibly impressive. And that fight in mid, where Faith Beyond died, I think that was a bit of a miscalculation, but it just unwinded this series of events where LGD crumbled.
Just like when you take a cork out of a wine bottle. PSG.LGD just kind of exploded in the team fights. That was a good analogy. Why are you doing that? Anyway.
Isn't that like a good thing though, to like explode?
No, it's not. Have you ever exploded? It doesn't feel very good. I can tell you that much. That was not a poop joke, but you're making it one by laughing like that. Anyway, getting back into it. T1.
Back to me?
No, I got this. T1.
Oh, okay.
If I'm LGD, I'm kind of scared because they've just dismantled everybody in the late game in team fights, like the panel was saying.
Yeah.
And T1 made the better decisions in that game. And now that I'm looking back at it, I feel like they've done really great in the mid to late game in almost all of their games. We saw that amazing, beautiful Sand King game where they were behind and they came back from excellent decision making versus Nigma. And this is the exact same scenario. I think if I'm LGD, I'm like, all right, let's pick early push heroes. Let's not just go to the late game against these guys where they seem to be equal, if not better, than us.
Dude, the minute-to-minute mechanics were amazing.
Yeah.
Agreed. Also, what were we worried about last draft? We were talking about, can this Monkey King survive the Axe and Sky lane? Can he survive the Axe and Sky burst? Can this Puck? This Puck phase shift dodged like 2 or 3 Axe calls and they were trying to go for the pickoff play. This Monkey King had help on his lane. The Treant Protector came down there, the Puck came down there. They knew what they had to do. They knew which lanes they had to secure, and they stopped the early game from being a disaster. And that game was so back and forth even before the big turn in the last 5 minutes until LGD managed to secure their lead, and it looked like a win for them at some point. But they just knew how to play the fights so well. And that Doom, I gotta say, kept them in the game.
Honestly, to me, like the early game was pretty good from T1. Obviously, LGD took a lead, but I still think T1, being such individually skilled players, like Carl was able to identify that he needed to be that person that was rotating to help the lanes, and he did, and it did help the lanes. LGD still took a lead, but this is just one of those late game Dota scenarios where like the gold lead being 8K at 25 minutes is very different from the gold lead being 8K at like 40 minutes into the game, where a single death with no buyback, such as what we saw with Faith Beyond's Axe, like that determines the game, because a minute and a half, sure, it doesn't mean you can go throne, but it means if you do go throne and the enemies fight you, then they're fighting 4v5, which is terrible. And so basically all this was some crazy late game scenario where the gold lead didn't really matter that much, especially because the second rush is so OP and gives you just 10k gold of net worth. But where it was just down to one decision. Like one team fight is all that makes the difference at that point in the game, and T1 just made better decisions.
Well played to them, hats off. So T1 go for the Puck. They were very successful with it, I would say, last game.
Yeah.
Carl has proven that he is an impressive and annoying player. He is so annoying to play against, and I gotta say, his Puck is one of my favorites this tournament.
I love describing players as annoying. I used to be of the, of course, in old age you get very accustomed to, you change the way you think about things.
Sure.
But when I was a young, stupid player, I would look at these annoying players and be like, oh, they're bad. They're doing something weird. That's why they're annoying me. But once again, they're always the players that would end up on Tier 1, Division 1 teams that are stomping. It's like these hero spammers, these annoying people, they're annoying you because they're better than you. They're doing better things than you're doing.
Yep.
And so, yeah,
Cool.
shout-outs to him for being annoying.
That's very cool. So they go for the Leshrock and Nyx opener. And it's kind of a throwback, right? Nyx had an insane burst in popularity at the start of the major, and we saw him fall off a little bit. But they go for the first look lash, they secure it with the Nyx. And this Puck Spectre, I feel it is a bit more unusual. Because typically when you first phase a core, you don't want to first phase another core. But it looks like they just wanted to secure it without getting it banned out in second phase.
I can understand it. It's like you don't want to give the Spectre away, and you know that it's likely because this hero is contested between both of the teams that it could get banned. It's very likely to get banned out in that second phase. And then the Puck, I think after the last game, if you're T1, you're thinking that's probably going to get banned out in the second phase as well. So even into the Nyx, it felt so good to have Carl on that Puck again. He just made so much happen in that game. So I can understand these two picks, but it could be punished. It can definitely be punished.
Yeah, LGD ended up first facing the Spectre last game, and it ultimately got answered by the Doom, which now LGD are going to take a page out of T1's book, and we'll just trade things. We saw the power of the Scepter and the break mechanic, and how much of a late game insurance it can be against a hero like Spectre.
Yeah, this Doom looked very strong in the hands of Cuckoo. He kept them in that game when they lost that lead in the early game. He was topping the net worth. He got that kill 2v4 after it looked like they had lost a team fight. So we know that this hero can be incredibly effective if played correctly.
Every single game with Doom in it, he's just the top net worth. Like, sometimes it's top in the game, sometimes it's like second or third in the game, but he's almost always the top net worth on his team. And for a hero that is, often played in the offlane, it's so weird to see that, but it's like he's like a ticking time bomb. That's the thing with this Doom. I think Kyle said it on the bus. Maybe it was like yesterday or some other day. But he was saying that a lot of teams will pick this Doom hero when they think they're just the better team, because eventually you get to the point where Doom is unfightable. Unless you have some extremely good answer for the Doom, you have a Refresher, you have a Shiva's Guard, you just take, and then an Aghanim Scepter, you take two heroes out of the fight, and it's like they're dead. You need to 3v5 us right now, or you're going to lose the game. And you can't do that in the late game. Absolutely. Everybody's going to be equally strong in the late game, so that's super hard to do.
It's just so invaluable to delete a hero, and if it gets to the point where he has a Refresher, and sometimes even a Refresher shard, you can like bust out three
delete
Dooms.
Three heroes,
like,
yeah.
And you saw how much trouble it took EG to deal with the Doom. It was, what, 2 Lincolns and a Lotus to make sure that they could protect a target?
But the thing is, that's a lot of net worth, and Doom is a hero who just farms. He farms so fast, man. So you eventually on Doom will have some timing where you have a Refresher and a way to break Lincolns, and like you're basically what I'm saying is that these item timings are almost always going to come after Doom has some way of dealing with them because of the nature of this hero, which is why teams pick it when they want to win and they think they're just the better team. I'm not saying that's what LGD does in this scenario, but that is the reason that teams do that is something you have to look out for, and that's the fact that Doom will always get farmed and he will almost always win the late game.
Agreed. And T1 take the Axe. This time, these teams are just switching it up with each other, it looks like. But Axe is an invaluable hero to have on your team. He's got this like BKB piercing disable on such a short cooldown that he will never be useless. Yeah. The only issue you have with this hero is just waiting for his blink timing. So
we've seen a few of these odd picks and odd matchups where like it looks theoretically like a bad Batrider or a good Batrider game, and then it turns out to be horrible for certain reasons. Right. I'm thinking the same thing except the other way about this Axe, where normally on Axe, you don't really want to play into like a Phoenix because Phoenix just eggs. You don't do anything to kill the egg. Culling Blade, you can, if you can somehow Culling Blade somebody, use the attack speed to kill the egg. Sure, that's okay, but that's such an impractical thing. And then Leshrac, you jump him, and if he has his Edict on, and if he has his ult on, he just murders you.
Also,
so
Sunray, yeah, you can Sunray the called target with a Holy Locket, and
they will never get dunked. They'll
also,
never be in
yeah, Sunray hurts the Axe so much because it's percentage-based damage, and the same applies to the Spectre.
Yeah, that's true.
Very valuable nuke.
It's a weird Axe game, but that's the thing is like in a vacuum these things are true, but combined with these other heroes, maybe that's just completely not true. This is a hero that fights incredibly quickly. Maybe that's what they want to play into. Heroes like Doom and Phoenix who have really long cooldown ultimates, so that could make sense. Maybe because they have a Spectre and a Winter Wyvern who have long cooldown ultimates, and even Puck's the cooldown on it has gotten increased over the past few patches. Maybe the Axe is their solution, where it's like we need a hero that fights a lot because all of these other heroes are cooldown dependent. Possibly that's why they're picking it, even though it's kind of a little countered.
I can get behind that, and on the flip side, the same thing does apply to LGD's draft, where they have the short cooldowns of Lush and Nyx.
And Nyx, yeah.
But then they have the big cooldowns of Doom and Phoenix, and they double down on another big cooldown.
They really have.
With Warlock. So there's a lot of sustain coming out of T1's draft. There's counter initiation in spades. They have 3 heroes that can just stop the Doom initiation. So it already looks like these fights are going to be messy.
They're going to be super messy. And if you can disengage on T1, you have 2 healers as well. So the Doom target needs to die at the start of the fight. Like, if there's any sort of disengage from T1 and that Doomed hero gets out of the fight, they will survive, period. It's not like those games where the Doom target gets out and then dies on, like, the last tick of Doom. That's not going to happen. Oh, that's a good pick.
Messy team fights, but also high cooldowns on T1. Looks like they're going to have to be dedicated to Wraith King's first life, though.
Agreed. This is where Wraith King thrives, playing against these big cooldown heroes. That's when this hero can absolutely be used to his peak. Although they do have Axe, who I think is a very good Wraith King killer.
Yeah, it's really good at laning versus the Wraith King because you just spin and clear the skeletons. The thing with the Wraith King though is you can go jungle, and so on the flip side, they do have enough ultimates on T1 that they probably can kill the Wraith King after he respawns.
Yeah, so it's interesting to me because when I see heroes like Warlock, I think of getting choked out on the map because once your Warlock doesn't have Golem, and if you have another big cooldown, it seems like your heroes just can't go out and find farm. But that's actually not the case with this Puck pick and this Wyvern pick because they can always play side lanes.
Yep,
and
that's true.
It's really important to have heroes who can play side lanes and push out lanes if you have high cooldown heroes.
Seems like even drafts from both sides. That's the way that I want it. We're in the top 3 of the tournament, and one of these needs to go down to face evil geniuses. Take it away, Cap and Kyle, for the last game of the night.
So happy that we managed to get a Game 3 for our upper bracket finals between T1 and PSG.LGD. As Tsunami was saying, whoever loses this is going to have to face up against Evil Geniuses, who is making their run through the lower bracket currently. And in this Game 3, an interesting twist on the draft. The teams have taken each other's heroes. Faith Beyond's going to be grabbing the Doom, and Cuckoo will have the Axe.
Yes, so when you get to this level of Dota 2, it's like Inception. It's a meta within a meta within a meta. First you take Dota 2 and Tournament Dota, then you break it down into the actual event meta, and then the series meta within that.
Okay, so what is the series meta that has developed? I mean, can I take a stab at it? We had our openers, right? Leshrac dealt with the Carl Batrider really well. T1 was like, okay, we need faster damage. They went ahead and picked up the puck, and they do that again in Game 3, and PSG.LGD's like, oh, well, we've got a Nyx Assassin for that.
Exactly. They also swipe the Doom away. This securing, I think, the late game. We've talked about it at length now, but Aghanim's Doom deletes Spectre from the game. It also places an important or an increased emphasis on the Spectre buyback potential. Buybacks, hard countering Doom. Like how PSG.LGD, they also covered it with a Wraith King.
All of a sudden, a surprise me. Oh dear, Cuckoo.
No.
He did not expect that Pops Fairy Fire,
no.
but there was just too much damage. Why? Baits them into his entire team. Well played.
They even give it to the Leshrac. That is the dream. He'll have a very fast bottle now. Should be a bit better off in the mid lane. The Wyvern, though, that's another hero. Like, within this tournament, very successful. I'm a little concerned, though, T1, because you kind of doubled down with the Warlock as well.
Yeah.
2 big R-button ultimates, but think about the individual playmaking. Pre-Axe Blink, it's literally, once again, all Carl. It's a remake of that first game. Yeah, it's a better hero for him, but he's the sole playmaker. Meanwhile, PSG.LGD, you've got stuns galore, and I love Nyx in this kind of game. All your heroes run in with you. You've got team fight to cover and a setup stun for your Leshrac. So, great ganking combo, and Carl will be fearing for his life pretty much all this game.
It's certainly going to make, Carl's game a whole lot harder, as we saw him multiple times making his way around the map, catching the Leshrac, setting up so many good team fights for T1, and now you've got that perfect support to just kind of plant in front of heroes all the time. Starting out with a Fatal Bonds and a Dagger, trying to put as much pressure on the Doom while he does have those lower levels. Trying to prevent him from getting too much Devour, knowing that this constant harassment is going to be coming, and Shinkyu is going to go for an early pull, like Nyx Assassins usually do. Y and Zephyr blocking each other's sentries, and Zephyr's the one to be able to walk away with the sentry survive. Yeah.
So far, nothing crazy. It's our first Wraith King of this series. Haven't seen it too much in the tournament. Was very popular in our European DPC, which may not bode well for PSG.LGD because the Wraith King teams have all exited the tournament, typically a few days ago.
Yeah, and Axe does relatively okay with it when it comes to both the pressure you're able to put on the hero early, and then as well, the skeletons actually just are an easy clear for Axe at all stages of the game.
I do hope that, and I expect, it is Ame. We get more of like this armlet blink build, something more aggressive. It's really tough for Puck to deal with the hero. You do have the Witchblade now. It's why it's so popular for that bonus armor. You used to just get shredded. And think about, a Blink Axe with a Doom running in, the Nyx Assassin scatting. It just gets so easy for PSG.LGD to play the map. The one big benefit, again, of this Leshrac is tower pressure. You look at T1, they don't have any. It can be very concerning if they fall behind on tier 1. So we did get the accurate stat.
Yeah, we had that one from Liamir, the stats guy I worked with for Omega League, and he said the win rate for teams that in their first objective go for the mid tower is 66%, and higher than any of the other objectives. So gives you kind of an insight. And we definitely saw that most notably, I think, from Nigma being the team who I felt like in a way was pushing the meta in taking that early mid tower as soon as humanly possible. Of course, they're no longer here, but teams certainly do learn from each other.
We shall see how this goes. So far, T1 ahead in the laning phase. I think that's going to be necessary if they want to take this game. We haven't really tuned into top too much, but it is a Doom and a Nyx Assassin. Really not the greatest laner against a Spectre. And I will say 23 Savage has played pretty...
Oh, they need a spin. He needs to take some hits somewhere. Okay, never mind. He's just going to run down Ame. An early death for the Wraith King. We said this lane, it's not going to be the easiest for the Wraith King, and it's already turning out that way.
Yeah, T1, they've played at a high level. Like, there are no slouches, and definitely no jitters either. I expected maybe a little more nervousness, perhaps, It is a huge stage. Yeah, they have their TI invite secured, whatever. You want to win the major. Like, this is a dream of many of these players. And they are performing as if it's just chilling at home, playing some Dota with the lads.
Well, it helps that they have such veteran captains to be able to rely on, both Cuckoo and March, their coach, who have been to multiple TIs, multiple international LAN events. Carl, in a bit of trouble here. You're really pushing it to the limits there. Down to below 10 HP, but... Tip Shinkyu on his way out. Cuckoo hoping to be able to get the spins to kill the Phoenix. Not quite lucky enough.
That's a very aggressive maneuver. I mean, Battle Hunger's the Wraith King while he tries to kill off the Phoenix.
It's almost like he was daring Wraith King. He was like, go ahead, try and kill me, but if you hit me, I might just spin enough to kill your Phoenix.
It's an annoying lane. Axe has been... Wow, they really just changed a lot of the... You weren't kidding. They swapped off laners, same mids, gave different carryover to T1 over, same one rather.
Yep. They, look at them, made difference. Puck last time dominated that matchup because of the early first blood. Nothing to say. This time around, Gunner early wand, and then this last little play from the Nyx assassin, securing not just a lot of damage on the puck, but also stealing away a rune, has helped Nothing to Say immensely. Though I do imagine some of that is neutral creeps. We're going to watch Whitemon die. 23 Savage lends a hand with the dagger, but not much you can do past that. Meanwhile, the bottom lane, Y is going to be chased down again. This bottom lane is just a constant clash, and it feels like they're getting stronger now. Level 5 Axe plus level 2 Splinter Blast. That's a lot of damage, Kyle.
Indeed it is, and you can see Ame, he's not got the Helm of Iron Will yet. Ooh, nice try with the stun. That might have been a kill. Level 6 Lash, very easy to find kills on Puck, especially with Edict skilled. I want to also say, I wonder what Zhao Wade said in the interim between games. The moment PSG.LGD walked off the stage, they were huddled up around their coach, and he was not going off, didn't hear anger, but a lot of words. I don't know if there was perhaps some discussion about the mid lane, needing to give more help. Maybe it was just about their decision making near the end game, but definitely going to be some tweaks to the PSG.LGD team play based on how much I heard Zhao Wade direct, and now Nothing to Say. Clicks the rune. Gets the arcane.
Nice dodge there of the splitter. Throws out the coil, hoping to be able to keep the Leshrac away, but he won't be able to jump away far enough. He got greedy, went for the damage. Oh, Nothing to Say. You didn't need to do it to yourself like that. Snaps the rope on his own neck, and he goes down right alongside the puck. At least he gets the kill first.
Big thing is, though, look at the net worth, or rather the last hit differential on the Spectre. You know, it is a lot of denies for 23 Savage.
Yeah, seriously.
That's very good. He's also going to go for the Blade Mail. This is somewhat typical when you play against heroes like Leshrac. We saw it from Ame in the first game against the Timbersaw. These heroes that can't turn off their damage just get eaten alive by Blade Mail.
Can we channel back to that that net worth real quickly? 16 denies on the Spectre, yes. And yet, Doom, rivaling top net worth. Just Doom things, you know?
Welcome to Devour Gaming. And yeah, I can promise you, Faith Beyond, he is a student of the game, the Wings TI winner, and guaranteed, yeah, Midas, you'll probably see him skip a lot of those build-ups. It's going to be all about the game-winning for that spell that he's faking right there.
He's just keeping 23 Savage on his toes, you know? Seeing if maybe he could force some TPs. 23 Savage panics. Ah, he's dooming me. Help!
That was sick from Jinkyu. He was baiting the orb. If he gets it on the Carapace.
Oh, managed to fake out. But they're going to be two-man core. All the shenanigans and trying to fake out Carl. Carl's like, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm going to coil you. And my team's going to come in and try and kill you. Now the Doom is used onto this Axe. The Sunray looking to be able to burn out Carl. Hoping to dodge. Phase shift away, but he got hit twice by Faith Beyond. And that's enough. Axe, he may be able to survive as the Doom is about to wear itself out. So Cuckoo on the offensive.
What are the skeletons doing here? Ame's bottom.
Well, I'm going to say he went ahead, went back to his jungle, farmed them, and then the next thing they saw was mid-creeps. That was the closest thing to them, so they made their way across.
Quite possible. Cuckoo with the Vanguard, feeling good, but I'm telling you, I'm so afraid of Doom in games like this.
Okay.
T1, again, we'll go through the same entree about it again. Wraith King, a little more geared towards the late game than a Monkey King. I'd say maybe 8.5 each, right? Doom with all those items.
Whoa.
What?
You said 8.5 for Spectre.
Yeah.
8.5 for Wraith King as well?
Ah, okay, fine. Give it like an 8.
Okay. We need standards here, Kyle.
Doom is still an 11. When you consider as well T1.
Out of 10, he's an 11. All right.
Spinal Tap, it's a real thing.
Uh-huh.
Warlock, Winter Wyvern, they don't apply any pressure. Faith Beyond, thanks to the little bit of assistance from Xinkyu, who's now going to hunt, they're going to look for the stack. You can't kill him, but you can take his money.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Just go ahead. You don't necessarily need to shove him in the locker, but you could still take his lunch money like that. And Cuckoo, a little sad. Does still have the Ancient stack to work with. That's something Nothing to Say can't take.
It's a cool invade, though. They do steal the bounty. Carl will take the Radiance right back. But, man, top 3 net worth all on the side of PSG.LGD. They are feeling themselves. And in these slower-paced games, this is when Doom is just so scary. He's got a Midas recipe. It's going to be heading out to him momentarily. And Max Devour. He's generating 240 bonus gold every 70 seconds and plus the Midas. So He basically
Carl
bought
trying to
Crypto
silence jump
2018.
away. He's got the coil. Look at the break.
Whoa.
Nicely done. The spike carapace. He tried to phase shift it, but Q, as soon as the phase shift is down, he snaps the coil on the spike carapace, returning the damage, and Puck just blows up.
And that's the tier 1 mid. And unfortunately, T1, like the items, like they have a Spectre, a Vanguard Axe, and 2 do-nothing supports. So it's all Carl, and Carl's just being harassed constantly by Q. Mana burns, the Carapace threatening the kills constantly. There's not much he can do. 23 Savage, forced to farm jungle. It's not bad for your Spectre, but they're going to get rotated on top. It's gonna be a dead Warlock.
He was just trying to collect some levels, but PSG.LGD moving several members over to make sure this tower dies, and they're going to clean out any T1 heroes that are around it.
That's why PSG, they're just so damn tough to take down. Cap, you can get a game, but to win a series, it's not just the plays you got to make, it's the strategy, it's the draft. And right now, T1, they're going to need some sort of movement around the ultimates they get on the supports. Warlock, okay, he's got the Tome in inventory. He'll be 6 on respawn. Wyvern, Zephyr, he's got his as well.
I love the fact they've got similar reads on how to be able to play the Spectre. Blade Mail picked up once again, so they want this hero to be active. There's the armlet probably into the Deso that you were talking about for the Wraith King.
Well, you don't need to go any kind of Midas Radiance. You have a Doom in your pocket, so Ame's job is just going to be, there's just max damage. I wouldn't be surprised to just see a blink right off the bat. Just get active. If your Doom, or rather your Wraith King and Lesh just get into the fight, you have to attack the back lines. T1's damage output's very reliant on gold. Like, they need initiation from the Axe, so the blink must be there.
Yeah.
Spectre needs items. Blade Mail's build up, not really any right click. And then it's Fatal Bonds plus Puck. So
and I think you said that was a bit of a problem for Game 1's draft of T1. You said it was kind of gold-based, and it, as a result, it ended up just being too slow or a little bit too far behind. You fearing the same thing is going to happen here?
I'm also fearing, PSG.LGD, like, we talk about meta within a meta, like these are their heroes. Both on their team and on the opposition. If anybody understands how to beat a Spectre, you would assume it's this squad.
Yeah.
Especially considering, if you remember, when they played Team Nigma, that's what they did.
3,000 net worth and building for PSG.LGD. It's now it's 4K. Double damage rune, power runes are all there. They're occasionally bullying T1 for bounty runes. T1, what is their response? Like, I'm waiting for a move that kind of stops all this PSG.LGD aggression, but I guess they can't have it until the Blink Dagger on the Axe. And there it is. He's got it now, finally. So look for T1 to make a big move. What does that move look like, Kyle? Like, who are they wanting to be able to catch with this first smoke rotation?
That's a good question. I would say probably the Leshrac. He's a tough target, though. Arcane's in a hood.
Last thing they want is running into this Nyx Assassin. That is Q, and his entire responsibility this game is being able to stay in front of these rotations, and he does it beautifully. They're going to drop Sentry. They spot him for a moment. He's already out of range. Cuckoo, if he wants to, he can have a bit of a gas. Ooh. Oh, barely misses the call there. They had the ward Sentry, but Q just sidesteps that one real quick, and that is going to be the first reveal of the Blink Dagger. A smoke used and nothing gained for T1.
And they have just the measured aggression, right? The 2 towers died early, but PSG.LGD foot off the gas, just chilling. Faith Beyond, he has invested early, a Gerber baby, and he is ready to go late. BKB is, it's in spitting distance, 1,500 gold, but you find that fast. He's gonna have like a 15, 16 minute BKB.
Yeah.
He won't die at that point.
Yeah, like you look at the damage, Spectre naturally has a hard time putting damage out this early. The Puck is a ton of damage, but BKB's gonna block all that out. And you can't tell me that an Axe alone is gonna be able to spin his way to a Faith Beyond kill.
Certainly will be challenging. Now, top 3 net worth, all PSG.LGD cores. The problem, like, I want to say, okay, T1, yeah, sure, they can win fights, but they're not getting any. And every minute that goes by, they're getting out-farmed. They need another smoke and a movement, but their initiation is a coil. It's a blink call. They need vision to do that. Look at the warding from PSG.LGD. It's all on their side of the river. They're not leaving their side of the map. They've got built-in gold mechanics. And, oh man, Ame, he is going to go for a Radiance. So I take back what I said. He's just saying, all right, well, we'll go late. Maybe that's what Jiawei was saying. Why make things so hard for us?
Put the pressure on T1 to make the moves. We want to secure the better late game. Maybe that's where the early Doom pickup is especially important. Q.
They don't have detection.
Ay. Oh, dear.
BKB Doom, 1445.
Oh, dear. Well, that's an extra 100 gold for Ame as he farms up a golem. Big cooldown being used. This Nyx Assassin is looking real good in this game, Kyle. You were right.
It's, I mean, it's Q. He's just doing what his job is. How many smokes has he broken? How many ganks has he foiled?
Yeah.
That's his whole identity here. Even the double fluffy hat. If you want to kill me, it'll take some time.
Now it's going to be PSG.LGD's turn to... Oh, he was trying to get off the winner's curse, and what a beauty it could have been. But the Yules goes off first. Mid-animation, nothing to say, catches him in the act.
Really well done. Now they go straight up towards top. They have the Arcane Rune, and they know there's no Golem. So a little bit of a window here. Max looking for the jump. Cuckoo is waiting. He needs a two-man, though. Just Wraith King and his creeps won't help. He'll have the respawn. I love it. The offensive glyph pressure and get the tier 2. Get the outpost, deny the XP.
Okay, the Winter Wyvern is back. So now T1 can try and take this team fight. But you can see PSG.LGD are very, very spread. They're going to start the initiation by going on Ame with Cuckoo. See if they can burn him out. The Sunray's doing so much work. Oh, the Doom immediately on the puck catches him before he can jump away to his orb. Now they've got a Supernova to be able to contend with. That's why 23 Savage jumps back to his original haunt positioning to be able to get out of dodge here. But Zephyr won't be as lucky. Even Whitemon may be caught as the Impale from the Nyx Assassin catches him as well. 3 down, T1. They wanted to stop this tier 2 from being taken, but instead it goes down anyway, and now they've lost 3 heroes, their outpost. This is turning into a disaster, Kyle.
We saw PSG.LGD do this exact same move at nearly the exact same time. Or no, sorry, it was them defending against it when Team Nigma tried it in that original series here on the main stage. What do PSG.LGD do differently? First, Ame the only target to initiate on. He's a Wraith King. They don't care. They had that ward up on the high ground. Was that just denied by...
They put a ward up there and then denied it themselves? Is that what you're thinking?
What I thought he did. Yeah, well, either way, they had vision of the puck as he TP'd in.
Yeah.
So yeah, the stun was early because of the TP duration, but then there's just a Doom.
Yeah.
And you're left with no real options as T1. You can't leave your tier 2 tower and thus surrender your outpost. We've discussed the importance as Radiant. If you can take enemy tier 2 and outpost, suddenly T1, where would they be teleporting to get to Roche? They're mid tier 2? Like, there's no map control. You lose Aegis almost guaranteed, and there wouldn't be a fight loss, but you're just going to bleed advantage across the map, and you already feel pressured because PSG.LGD are just out-farming you, and you know it is. You saw that Doom pick up a Midas.
Yeah.
You see his BKB and you think, oh god, like this is only going to get worse for us.
Yeah, I mean, they also had the Doom last game. They know how good it felt for a game to stall out and for the offlaner to very rapidly turn into a real carry.
Yep. And you notice, like Faith Beyond, this is what I'm talking about. There is no iteration on the build. It is Midas, BKB, Blink Dagger. You get the War Stomp. Faith Beyond is a beast. Probably a Shiva's to be queued up next. Maybe just rush a refresher. I don't think you have the mana pool for double Doom though, without the Shivas. But either way, let's see. Carl, there's his blink. Now he can finally perhaps get that jump coil they've been waiting for. Cuckoo's had his for a while, but again, just no vision to make the moves. PSG.LGD still with no aggressive wards placed.
Cuckoo, ooh, good blink away. Even better ward and sentry to be able to spot that attempted kill. But the Radiance is now complete for Ame. That makes team fights hard, and that is why PSG.LGD are going to go straight into the Roshan pit. They want T1 to try a team fight right now, because they're feeling very, very strong.
Oh yeah. Even have the casual medallion on Y, just to ensure this Roche goes down easy. They've got all the necessary tools for killing it off.
All right, so how does T1 turn this game around for them? Because they obviously didn't go to plan A, where, you know, they were going to be able to take the Axe Blink Dagger and start running a PSG.LGD and get a nice timing there. That failed. What's the backup plan? What's the backup plan, Kyle? Tell me there's a backup plan. It's...
Okay, stall out the game.
I see smoke coming out of your ears
You need
now.
you need a huge Fatal Bonds, like absolutely enormous.
Yeah.
And 23 Savage immediately executes either Nyx or Phoenix.
Okay.
With a Wyvern ult to set up a call on 3 heroes, of which 2 are cores.
Okay, so Wyvern call the Leshrac and catch like Wraith King or Doom.
Yeah,
maybe a support in there.
Exactly.
They get the call off of that. Yeah,
Yes.
like okay. No, like there's definitely basically what it comes down to is T1 can always win team fights because they've got 2 very big team fighting supports. It just comes down to execution. And in some ways, PSG.LGD do have to make an error in grouping up a little bit too much.
Yeah, it's got to take a mistake from PSG.LGD, and that's really what their lead is.
Oh, again. Oh, he's so... Okay, maybe they find the initiation anyway. They managed to catch the Doom, and they burned him out so quick. The Hunt, they're actually going to be able to deal with the Supernova as well. This is looking good for T1. Split Earth coming down, but the Cold Embrace is trying to be able to keep him live. They actually managed to get the Winter's Curse on the Leshrac with the Wraith King. Where's the follow-up call? Well, it's not going to be there quite yet. T1.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
No.
He actually ran into that spike. There's the call on the 2 of them. Cuckoo, manly as hell, goes back in, gives up his life to be able to make sure that 23 Savage is going to make it out alive. They also kill the Aegis on Nothing to Say. All right, now we can see how T1 can win an engagement here.
Yeah, killing the Doom before BKB is a great start. I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, oh, wow, BKB, Blink, Essence Ring, there's no way. But yeah, they get the kill. That's a great way to start things off, because if Doom gets BKB Doom off, well, that means your Puck, your Axe, your Spectre, one of them's deleted, the fight gets real difficult. But T1, the downside of the draft, they blew everything. All cooldowns gone. And now you're in a position where PSG.LGD, they go right back to out-farming you. So that was a big win for them, but it didn't affect the gold lead whatsoever.
Yeah, and it doesn't change your control of the map, right? Like, we're basically seeing T1 playing the same areas as they were before, and LGD, similarly, is going to be spreading all over the map, out-farming you. Yeah, I can definitely see the problem
Like
here.
the outpost not controlled, that means you're losing out on experience every minute. Not a ton, but, you know, it's like a bounty rune, a third of a bounty rune of experience. And that tick up is going to get troubling. Blink Dagger now on Jin Q, so you got to be cautious as well, especially as the Axe.
I do love the fact that he's not going BKB. I think that is so important. When you're down like this, I need to see my Axe actually turn into a real hero later into the game. If you go to the BKB build up, it'll feel good immediately, but it probably means you drop off. So he's going to go the Manta build, see if they can stall out the game that way.
It does change things a bit because PSG.LGD, their wave clear is a big edge right now, but Axe Manta would certainly give T1 a bit more vision control around the map. And more importantly, to your point, he'll actually scale better.
Yes.
And to win this, you know, we saw this in the previous game with the players flipped, where Doom at a point has like double the net worth of Axe. That can't be the scenario here for T1 if they're going to take this game. They lose another T1. Roshan may spawn in 4.5 minutes. It's some time away because Nothing to Say lost it so early into his acquisition. Now we'll bottle the DD. Same build, 3 consecutive games for Nothing to Say. So yeah, I suppose if you are watching as an aspiring pro player, perhaps take something from this build.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't just about the slower damage from game 1. Maybe it's just this is the build for him.
Eternal Shroud does make a lot of sense because you don't actually have too many issues like farming with Lesh, right?
Yeah.
It's about sustaining your mana in a team fight. And Eternal Shroud represents plus 350 raw mana if you assumingly absorb all the magic damage. So it's like health and mana in a fight, like the 2 things Lesh is going to need in the engagement. He's not even top 2 in his team.
Smoke managed to find the Doom anyway, despite Jin Q being in the right position to break it. This time around, they're waiting for someone to defend, but it's so obvious that PSG.LGD know.
Yep.
Nothing to Say isn't even throwing a spell in this mid lane right now.
Faith Beyond, by the way, he bought Neon Disc. Recognized the scenario where they lose a fight. It's if what happened previously happens again.
Right,
also, since we last spoke on it, it's now an 11K gold lead. It's just because of this hero on your screen right now. Midas off cooldown, Devour off cooldown. It's just 500 GPM for free.
So you said wave clear is a big problem. You noticed that our Winter Wyvern actually picked up a shard. So now he's got the Splinter Blast and he's got the Cold Embrace, where once it's done, another Splinter Blast goes out, just trying to deal with that exact problem.
It's actually way better. It's also reducing the cooldown.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't realize
It's
it
legit.
did that too. That's nuts. 5 seconds. He also has the Holy Locket. Okay, here's another intriguing aspect of this, is that if you can just keep your Spectre alive with Blade Mail, with Dispersion, you know, theoretically, PSG.LGD, they're not going to run out of damage, but maybe your Spectre gets enough done. I'm a little concerned about that guy on your screen. Ame is just enormous.
Yeah, he is a big boy, and Doom is right there and right next to him.
We shall see.
Retaking the outpost. You see Refresher being built up on Faith Beyond. He's saying, okay, if, I'm going to deal with an initiation. Eon Disc deals with that, and then I'm going to double down on my late game potential. Team farming the triangle. Not necessarily the most efficient thing, but T1 are recognizing that they do need to play together. The only one who can really be off map is Carl's puck, and even that, he has to be very careful. He's done a good job, though. He hasn't actually been caught by Jin-Q gank just yet. 4-man smoke over, 5-man actually, as they move through the T1 triangle. PSG.LGD are going to start making their way back through the lane. Look at the way they drew down this. They're going to run to the sides, I believe, to see if they can find anybody on the side of the map. Jin-Q, is he going to be able to find Carl? Throws out, oh, the impale lands, and they catch the puck. They finally manage to deal with this annoying split-pushing puck.
He drops the greetings, but he already got his hellos. 15K approaching PSG.LGD, the gold lead up. It's ominous. You know, you can feel the advantage just creeping further and further upwards as the PSG.LGD side does the same to T1's map. Now,
there's the Manta for the Axe, so we'll see if this 14K net worth is going to keep building up or if the Axe Manta will allow things to even out a little bit more.
It'll certainly help.
But it's not going to stop this.
No, it won't.
PSG.LGD now take the final map that's left on the tower here. 12-6. 26 minutes in with a huge 15,000 net worth lead for LGD. I can go ahead and call Doom Alchemist Light all I want, but that net worth lead is still gigantic.
He's going to have a refresher for the post-Aegis team fight. Roshan may spawn in 30 to 330 from now. Expect the next big fight to be around that objective. I don't think T1 can afford to give it away. And their win condition, so we found it. Heal the Spectre, Fatal Bonds, level 10 on the Warlock. Now with the Fatal Bonds, talent. Get that on 4 heroes. Set up the same way they did previously with a big Wyvern Curse into a call. They attack Spectre with PSG.LGD's entire lineup, but he survives. Cold Embrace, healed up. Slowly you turn the tide. Carl, spell combo after spell combo. He kills Phoenix before the egg can come out.
That hero has no disable. Whitemon has no TP.
Uh-oh.
So, not going to be able to get out of this one. Now he's got a TP.
I will say Carl, he's going for option A in the counter of the Doom. There's the first Lincolns. At some point, I imagine the Wyvern or the Warlock. Okay, maybe just the puck, but he'll be able to put it on an ally, and it'll help keep him alive from the initiation of specifically the Wraith King. But the trouble you have as Puck is that what you really fear in this game is Carapace. So the Lincolns isn't going to help you at all. In some cases, you'd almost prefer the BKB, but at the same time, then you're susceptible to being doomed. It's kind of a no-win scenario. It's why this Nyx pick was so good for PSG.LGD.
They identified that Carl was a big problem, particularly for Nothing to Say in Game 2, and they addressed it both with the Nyx and, in a way, the Doom.
I feel like Y is just constantly he's like the chill vibes player on the team, you know? Sometimes he's stacking camps, now he's checking objectives, now he's in trouble.
They're going to be able to get the call out now. T1 immediately surrounded by the Eon Disc. Does allow Nothing to Say to be able to reset here. The Supernova is going to go down, and 23 Savage immediately jumps away. They're jumping onto the Warlock right now, and they should be able to chain stun him pretty easily. I think T1 are kind of giving up on this fight. Oh, the Lincoln's block. They managed to take away the Doom, but the Eon Disc again protecting these cores. As soon as T1 thinks they've got a target in hand, another refresher, another Eon Disc, but Cuckoo is going to be left behind. T1 once again have to retreat. These Eon Discs, they see an opportunity to jump a hero, but every single time they are denied a kill by this item.
It is so broken, Cap. I mean, at the same time, if you can't get them, it gives T1 a way to win the game. Like, there's no other item that can do what these Eons are doing.
Yeah.
But, like, Wraith King has an extra life, and the other two cores have a invincibility buff. Like, Refresher Orb was popped that fight by Faith Beyond, so he'll have his Doom active once again. Oh, but that's just, what do you do? They're just straight up into the racks. Like, it was a great fight start from T1. Like, they would have had a kill on Lesh.
Yeah.
But Eon Disc.
Yeah. Again, it feels like the fact that they swapped swapped in some ways the draft, certain very key heroes on the side of T1 that LGD was playing with last time. They're like, okay, we have definitely identified the weaknesses, and we're going to make this draft even better than it was in Game 2.
And now they're just right into the pit. Holding onto a Doom. I love this from T1. You got to keep fighting. You can't give away the Aegis. They're going to give it their all. Coil up in a second. No Golem, but they have Curse. No Haunt either.
They need a really good Fatal Bonds. They need a really good call, but it doesn't land on anything. Spike Carapace almost immediately catches the puck and the Spectre. Winner's Curse will allow them to reset here. Good amount of damage put onto Faith Beyond. He's at half health. The Fatal Bonds follow up, but T1 have run out of spells to throw down. So PSG.LGD, once Fatal Bonds is gone, are probably going to be able to reset into Roshan.
Okay, okay. 22k gold lead, but again, there's a bit of an Alchemist factor in here. But at the same time, it's just, oh, they're so farmed, Cap.
Yeah.
These heroes are so big. In T1, I just look around at their inventories, and I just don't see anything very scary. It's like, Lincoln's a Manta for the Axe. What's 23 Savage have? He's closing in on the Scotty.
But just look at my man, Whitemon, here. His net worth is tragic. 3,400 net worth.
Oh, and look at what the other supports have queued up for PSG.LGD. How do you beat them?
More Eon Disc?
Of course.
More Eon Disc. Oh,
it's
golly
gross.
gee.
Because Q is even closer.
Like, their whole thing is just getting off a really good initiation, and that's going to be denied on everyone. Like,
literally everyone.
You get the right call, you're not going to get a kill out of it. And they can't follow up on it either because of that invincibility bit of time.
There's just no counterplay either. Like, you know, Nullifier? Like,
yeah, like eventually a Nullifier out from the Spectre, but obviously he's not having a good enough game to just be grabbing items willy-nilly whenever we suggest it. Roshan will fall here. I thought maybe he would make the jump.
He opened the slot. He thought about it.
I mean, I kind of wish he did, just because I feel like they need to make a high-risk maneuver here.
It's so, like, talk about game planning, right? T1, they made a pretty good couple of engagements. Oh no.
Cuckoo's is going to be found. The rest of T1 is on their way. The Manta dodge doesn't actually land here. The Golem's going to go out, but Cuckoo's still dead. Whitemon not going to be able to get out with that Force Staff. And now the Yule Scepter is going to make sure that Zephyr is going to have a hard time getting away too. Ame greets him with a punch to the face. 28,000 net worth lead now as LGD is truly working T1 in this Game 3.
Yeah, Faith Beyond wasn't even there, just farming. The rest of his team can get the work done. And I don't blame T1 for the somewhat recklessness of the golems we've seen in this game. Whitemon, he's doing his best. Like, I don't know what you do. You can't get any of the cores. They all have extra lives to get out of jail free cards. The supports are just playing way in the back. Aegis is up. You're 30,000 gold behind. Hats off to getting us here to a Game 3. Not every team has been capable of doing so against PSG.LGD.
Yep.
But you've lost now your second racks, and you're looking for that magical, mystical team fight. 4-man curse, 4-man call, kite the Eon Disc, do it again. But without the winner's curse the second time. Instead, you bait the Spectre. Is there a refresher on the Warlock? No. Unfortunately, there's not. So
PSG.LGD have only lost 5 games at this major. They were in the group stage. They're here in the playoffs. They've made it this far through the tournament, and they've only lost 5 games. 2 of them to Nigma. A couple of teams in the group stage as well managed to get 1 off of LGD, but this has truly been the most dominant team of the Kyiv major.
Indeed, and it would leave T1 with 1 extra life to try their best to potentially be the only playoff team to beat a group stage team. We still have not seen that.
Yeah.
A direct playoff team yet to win a series.
Oh, that hit pill was actually kind of close, but because of the Shard of the Doom, he keeps Carl controlled up pretty well. The Winter's Curse can allow him to reset, but Kuku in the back lines, he's trying to deal with Ame right now, slowing him down with a Battle Hunger. That last shot is not going to be good enough. They healed him up with a Cold Embrace. Supernova on in deep, 23 Savage. Oh no, he doesn't have buyback either. I was going to say he's going to have to use a second life to try and hold against this assault from PSG.LGD. Now the jump in, Manta immediately popped, but the damage is just measly. It's Peasley. It doesn't do anything. They can't do anything. T1, they realize that too, and they're going to call it quits here. PSG.LGD will be the first team heading to the grand finals of the Kyiv Major.
I will say T1, they held their own.
Yeah.
It was a 2-1 series, not a walkover for PSG.LGD by any account. However, to beat this team in this tournament, you've got to bring it all phases. Your item decisions, your rotations, your movements, most importantly, your drafting, your tactics. Yes, T1 maybe a bit outplayed throughout this last game, but they're strategically just destroyed.
Yeah.
It's a 14-minute BKB Doom. Double Eon, what were they supposed to do to win the game?
I'm slightly worried about T1 now heading down to the lower bracket against Evil Geniuses. Not because of who's waiting for them there, but because what happened at Nigma. They said, straight up, LGD, they broke us. And then we just lost our confidence, and it feels like LGD, same thing here. They broke T1, and I feel like that team, because of what we've seen them, right? Coming to game 1, really strong draft. Made a little bit of turnaround in game 2, but they come back even stronger in game 3 with a different game plan that seems to deconstruct how you want to play Dota. I feel like in a best of 5, that kind of team that seems to be able to read you and counterplay and counter draft that well is going to be scarier the bigger the series is.
Yeah, they don't make many mistakes, but they really haven't made any in the drafting phase. Like most Dota, like this is my favorite phase of the game because you can really see how things are going to come together, the way they then play the tower rotations, like even just the warding. It all just makes sense when you watch this team play together. They're basically just down to chill and vibe for 15, 20 minutes. They have all their core items up in a huge lead, and then they start taking over the map. And to beat them, I mean, I don't know, T1EG, whoever wins, you've got a challenge with this squad.
Yeah.
Good luck.
That's right. The stage is set for our final day. It's going to start off with T1 versus Evil Geniuses, and the winner of that will go against LGD in a best of 5 in the grand finals of the Kyiv Major. It's going to be an incredible day. Can't wait for it to start. Now let's go ahead and check in with our analysts there at the ramen shop.
Can't wait for the grand finals to start. One step at a time, Cap. One step at a time. Let's talk about his third game. Let's talk about this series because do you guys feel, like Cap is saying, that game 2 and maybe the first game as well, like this series would have broken T1?
No
Is
way.
that no way, right?
I don't think so.
I hope.
I don't think so.
No, I think I'm not saying that they expected to lose, but the fact that they gave 2 close games, one of which they won, and then yes, you're gonna have one game that wasn't so encouraging, but I don't think you should ever be just devastated from something.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
I think the casters were mentioning it, but this game 3 felt like a lot of an out strategy than an outplay. I think even though they were down a lot in this game, they made some really good plays to come back in the game. I saw at the bottom river, like they baited out a pretty weak Phoenix egg from Y, I'd say, and they managed to turn that fight around. But I mean, it did feel a bit weird to me, right? Like they were against Virtus Spectre game 2. They picked the Doom destroys the game. They first 2 Spectre, they give them the Doom. The Doom destroys the game.
Doom's only
Little
weakness,
bit
I
of
think, is the
pattern.
laning phase.
Yeah.
Spectre pretty much gives free farm to any off lane
Yeah.
you're against.
Spectre, we saw 23 Savage. He had like 20-something denies, but Doom was still higher net worth just because of his skill set. It just didn't look like a good matchup.
I like the Wraith King pick last. It's perfect, and I think it was a bit of an oversight by T1 to allow it to stay, because you have a massive single volley of stuff where it's like, you're done, you're supposed to die in like 3 seconds to this massive team fight, and that's exactly where Wraith King will flourish.
Yeah, I think the other thing about this game is I felt like T1 outplayed LGD in lanes. Even though Nothing to Say had first blood, I think he was getting out CS mid. Spectre had a like insane amount of denies, and they were pressuring Ame really hard bottom. But at the end of the day, like, LGD is not a team that I feel like you can just beat them in lanes, because they just have such a cohesive game plan. They just pick these really robust heroes, and even if they falter a bit at any stage of the game, their overarching strategies will carry them through.
In the second game, the one that T1 won, they were behind for a large portion, then they had that massive, amazing team fight in the mid lane, making that comeback possible. Did you think that PSG.LGD tried to be a little bit more careful with the comeback potential and those fights for T1 towards the end of the game, or were they so far ahead that at that point they didn't care?
You have a lineup with limited damage output between Axe, who's going to be the blink initiator and only spins, Puck and Spectre in the mid game, right? Like, if you look at the supports, they don't help, they don't alleviate that issue. And we're talking about Lesh, who itemized Eternal Shroud, Doom with a BKB, and a Wraith King. It's just so hard to play their heroes from any deficit, at least, especially one that's that large.
Something that I always think about Dota is if you're behind, you have to itemize for damage, because you have to like clutch out plays. I don't think with these heroes they had an opportunity to clutch out plays like they did in Game 2. Game 2 they had a lot of damage just by virtue of having like a Monkey King carry, some outplays, and the Doombringer.
You see you see Cuckoo's build though. Like, he went for the damage.
Yeah.
He didn't go for some Blade Mail BKB or just like, let's get some phase boots and try to get our way back in the game right now. He realized that they're not going to be able to make the plays immediately, and that's cool. I like that kind of mentality.
He only did 7k damage though, so they just didn't have the opportunity to. I mean, it's like the right mentality, which is also why I don't think they'll be broken. Like, I feel like March, NA Dota hero, by the way. Thank you.
Sure.
Shout out to him. He is a good enough coach that he'll realize that he can, ooh.
Hello, we are joined by Nothing to Say. Congratulations, first of all. And not just with the grand final slot, congratulations on being the best, the highest ranked player in the world. How does that feel? You get to play everyone in this at the moment in this region.
Yeah, I think just lucky because my teammate is good. Yeah, so I can up the MMR. Yeah.
Just lucky.
Yeah.
I was luckier.
Yeah.
I want to ask the first question.
Go for it.
When you guys go into a series, how many strategies do you have planned, or like how much of it is planned during the series itself?
We just see what their draft and we think what our hero is good against them, and we just pick the hero. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I just want to ask, how did it feel to cliff Arteezy 3 times? And I noticed that Faith Beyond, he put some sprays on the high ground. Do you think like having that funny team environment helps you guys play better?
I don't know, because I just see the high ground there, then I just use the spell. but I don't know. Yeah.
Was it targeted? Like you guys, because I always wonder, because Arteezy, he just gets cliffed so much. Do you guys like see Arteezy and you're like, I want to put him on the cliff? Is it a natural instinct?
Just nature, I think, because I just think I think I can just use the spell to let him go high ground, then I just use, yeah. Then I see he TP out, then we win the fight, yeah. So
yeah.
Then later the fight again, there I just
same thing.
Yeah.
Playing Magnus, what do you do against Arteezy? Put him on the cliff. It worked out. This major, you are already top 2, grand final secured. Previous major, you guys got top 3 as well. So you've played a lot of Dota, like the team that has played one of the most international Dota over this DPC season or year, if you want to call it that. How do you feel like the Dota like changed from major 1 to major 2 in this year?
I think the major one, we use a lot of monkey or some the strong late game hero, then just get nerfed a lot. Then it's like I think it's like a lot of hero now can pick and can be very strong if you play well. Yeah. So, yeah.
Do you feel as a team you're also like? Did you feel an improvement for yourself and for your team from Singapore Major to this AniMajor?
We just learn a lot of stuff maybe, and just I think we just learn a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, learn a lot.
Why we lose the first major, then we learn a lot the draft. Yeah.
You didn't lose the first major, you came third. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And already secured grand final slot here too. We're looking forward to seeing you play in that grand finals. It's been looking amazing. So we're gonna let you go. We know it's late, so thank you very much for coming to my little ramen shop. And good luck tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I mean, they lost the major. It's just lucky making
It's
it
all
tough.
perspective.
It's crazy though, right? Because I think I hear that a lot as well for people playing in TI. If you don't win, you lost.
Yeah.
Right?
Not first, you're last.
If you're not first,
second
you're
place is
last.
first loser.
Yes.
I don't think it's a bad mentality for a competitor, though. You should all be winning to, like, if you don't win, you should be aiming to improve. That's what the Dota scene's all about.
It's an attitude that's important that you hold yourself to that standard, but it's not in a way that you beat yourself up about it.
Yeah.
Or so the hunger to not be the loser anymore motivates you. And it can go both ways, and I'm just saying I think it's healthy if you
want to
about it
be
the right
the number one and you're not satisfied with
exactly.
number 2 or 3 or yeah. We're gonna take a look at the bracket, see where we are at after another eventful day here at the AniMajor. We had 4 series today. We sent 3 teams home. We were having 6 teams at the start of the day. We only got 3 teams remaining. Let's see, we got rid of Quincy Crew, we got rid of Team Nigma, we got rid of Vici Gaming. I say that in a very negative way, isn't it? But
You just threw them out.
Look at
I mean,
those
to be
two
fair,
ones.
we only care about the winner.
There are a lot
Like,
of
look at
two
just
ones.
the whole bracket.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't
First
it?
day of upper bracket, bad. You know, let's ignore that. I
Yeah.
think we have all but 1 2-0.
Well, Nigma, EG.
Yeah, I'm saying Nigma EG is the
Spirit,
only
Vici.
2. I'm saying, and that's the wait, Spirit. Oh, I didn't see that one. Well, 2 2-0s, and I think that's like 11 or 12 2-1s.
Yeah.
Like, it's just been a really close
can't
tournament.
count.
Everyone's
it-
been. It's so much competition.
How much of that is level of play from the teams and the current meta in terms of first pick, second pick, maybe even?
I think it's the. He even said nothing to say. Said that there's so many viable heroes.
Yeah.
This patch that I think teams are able to always catch the enemy off guard at least once. So maybe they have to adjust mid-series. And I was hoping to find out if they had planned for the second game going in, but I got the idea that going in they have an idea of what heroes are good against what T1 is going to pick, and it sounds like they have an idea of which heroes they're going to be picking from going in, and that the only adjustment is which ones they might think work out better based on the sample size.
Fair enough. Let's take a look at what's happening tomorrow because we now know, of course, one of our grand finalists, PSG.LGD, and we need to still find out who is going to play against them. It's either T1 or Evil Geniuses, and they will play in a best of 3 in the lower bracket finals. Now, in between the lower bracket finals and the grand finals, we got ourselves a Wii show. It's a late night show that is not that late, hopefully, and it's gonna be good.
I
it's
have
going
an
good.
idea of some stuff that will be
Yeah.
in there that I may or may not have done some weird stuff for. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing the final product.
Should be fun.
Of random stuff.
AOI doesn't want to say
I don't know what's
anything.
happening in there. I'm gonna watch it. I don't think I'm involved. So
You were not involved in this.
yeah.
Oh, it's
You would know very well if you were.
it's gonna be
People
a
wonder what the hell I'm talking about.
great show. I think the whole day tomorrow is gonna be a great show. It does start a little bit later than normal. I actually just saw in our schedule it starts at 4 p.m. for us, 3 p.m. CEST, and you can calculate that for your own time zone. Make sure you're not late because the Dota is gonna be amazing. We'll see you for more AniMajor on the final Sunday.